I'll try not to get in trouble, Dave, but this might not happen again. I'm just saying.
Conservatives run wild.
Yeah, right?
We'll see how it goes. All right, let's jump into Hunter Biden. He struck a deal with the Justice Department. He got probation for filing his taxes late. DOJ said they wouldn't prosecute him for purchasing a handgun while he was using drugs. And we've heard a lot about Hunter Biden. It's always the worst when when you have to talk about family members of politicians. You feel like they're like kind of friendly fire.
Special treatment. Yeah. Dave, what would happen if you and I did any of these things? With the taxes, we're talking about $100,000 of essentially trying to avoid paying taxes. If you or I tried to do that, we'd be in prison.
It's always my fear. My biggest fear is that there's a set of rules for the rich and the powerful, and you and I get stuck with, paying the price no matter what the cost because we are neither rich nor powerful. So is it a sweetheart deal that he got, or was it just fair? Well, we wanted to reach out to a former U.S. attorney for the District of Utah, John Huber. John, thank you for joining us.
Hey, it's great to be with both you, Dave and Taylor, and to talk about this case. Your intro is provocative, and I think for us outside of the case, outside of knowing what's actually in the prosecution file, it's easy for us to jump to conclusions and start slicing this up as, hey, there's a two-tiered system. Of course, you can slice that another way and suggest who else would get a multi-year in-depth investigation upon them but for someone related to a high-ranking official. So that's another way to look at it, is maybe he had extra focus on him because of who he was. At the end of the day, though, we're talking about a prosecutor, the U.S. attorney in Delaware, who is a Trump appointee. I worked with him closely for a number of years in the Trump administration. He's one of the last, if not the last, Trump appointee in the Department of Justice. And he's a very experienced prosecutor. He's disciplined. And guess what? He's good-hearted. Like most, if not, all Americans, we wake up in the morning not thinking, what can I do today to screw up? We wake up in the morning thinking, what can I do to make a positive difference? And that's the kind of guy David Weiss is, the U.S. attorney. So I think that's the starting point of the discussion, is giving some presumption of regularity to a guy trying to do his best, come down on where is a fair resolution for this case.
John, I appreciate you and your comments, and that's why we love bringing you on, because I think you bring such an important perspective. There's a lot when it comes to the law that I think, as laymen, we just don't understand. So when we start hearing terms like pretrial diversion agreement, I heard this heavily criticized. I'm not even entirely certain what it is. So, when a bunch of lawyers are talking about a pretrial diversion agreement that's never happened in the history of whatever it might be, I don't know what that means. So can you give us some perspective? And I guess this is regarding the gun charge specifically.
Yeah, so that way to resolve it is rare. It's rarely used because you typically would use that in a weak case by weighing the evidence. Typically if it's a weak case, the Department of Justice will just decline to bring it. But look, it's not uncommon to use this tool. In my career as a federal prosecutor, I used it, maybe a dozen times over 19 years. So it's not uncommon. It is rare, but it may also be a signal that, they're giving special attention to Hunter Biden because of who he is. In other words, another person may have received a declination on that. And that charge itself, a drug user in possession of a firearm, and from what I understand of the facts, again, we're on the outside looking in, I lost cases that were stronger evidence-wise in federal court in Utah on drug user possession cases than what is portrayed about what this charge is about.
Interesting. We are speaking with John Huber, former U.S. attorney for the District of Utah. John, appreciate your insights, kind of balancing us out. I come at a place where I tend to be a little bit cynical or skeptical of politicians. I totally see that this investigation most likely started off for political purposes. Can you give us a sense of really where the investigations into Hunter Biden began and why?
Yeah, and I think it's good to reflect on that, because let's go back in time to 2020, the election year. between President Biden and former President Trump. And we see some discipline exhibited by the Department of Justice in that this investigation, although it had been going on, did not become publicly known or talked about until after the election was over. Mm. So you see their discipline by this U.S. attorney and more broadly, the Department of Justice under Trump's tenure being disciplined, trying not to bring out a salacious, provocative investigation into the public eye until after the election happened. So I think that's interesting. And, that also tells us that this has been around for quite a while. And it was probably started because of things in the media or conspiracy theories or sincere concern about unlawfulness that then is taken in by federal investigators consulting with prosecutors. And by design, these investigations are not out in the public eye to be seen and viewed and aired like dirty laundry. It's intended to be a private process, both for the individual and allow the investigators to do their job without political interference. So, to your point, Taylor, was it started during politically motivated? Well, if you use that theory, then you're going back into the Trump administration to say that it was started for political reasons under the Trump administration. And, that becomes uncomfortable for some pundits to go back and trace the pedigree of this investigation.
Yeah.
John, would the special counsel have done any investigation into some of Hunter Biden's other troubles, specifically his laptop or his work with Ukrainian energy company Burisma, or is this just specific to these charges?
Well, this is out of Delaware. And Delaware is a small state and therefore does not have the largest U.S. Attorney's Office, which is like a DOJ outpost. I mean, we have that here in Utah. That's the one that I led in Utah. The special counsel, I think, is thrown around by people, and maybe the public thinks that that's some kind of nuclear option. Special counsel is just like appointing a special U.S. attorney to do a job to try to avoid allegations that politics are involved. And so that's why you see the special counsel appointed on former President Trump's issues, and then you have a special counsel appointed on President Biden's classified mishandling allegations as well. But if things are going right and we're operating as designed by the Department of Justice, you don't need a special counsel. You just need a good, stand-up, straight-shooting U.S. attorney to do the job the right way, which is in private until it's time to bring it into the court for public airing in a trial in the court, not in the court of public opinion, but in the court of law. And that's where this case is now. And what has happened is what's called a pre-trial or pre-indictment resolution. So, they've been negotiating for some time, and this announcement yesterday shows that they came to an agreement, which, yes, it's a compromise. Not everyone gets what they wanted, but people get a little bit of what they wanted on each side.
John Huber, thank you for joining us, former U.S. Attorney for the District of Utah. When we come back, let's talk about the Bible ban. That might be a little harsh. Maybe it wasn't a full-on
I don't think it's a ban.
Bible ban. It was, you just can't have the Bible in some junior high schools, some elementary schools. Whoa, wait a second. Davis School District looks like they've reversed course. We'll talk to one of the state senators that sponsored the bill that has everybody up in arms in the Davis School District.
Dave and Dujanovic. Hey, stay right here for more of Dave and Dujanovic.
And tomorrow morning, come back here for news, traffic updates, and reliable weather.
Join us to have a listen. Tim and Amanda.
Your morning companions for news.
Ready, set, go. The race to replace Representative Chris Stewart is on.
He's talking about who he would like to fill his seat.
With nearly 24 candidates vying for the 2nd congressional seat, things will get interesting fast. We'll be all over every twist and turn, mornings and afternoons this week on KSL News Radio.
Emergency traffic on KSL News Radio. We've got 2 separate crashes on southbound I-15 right near Beck Street. The first one is before the on-ramp from Beck Street, and you have several vehicles over on the right shoulder. Then half a mile down the road after the on-ramp from Beck Street, you have another multi-vehicle crash blocking 2 left lanes in the left shoulder. All this has traffic pretty much at a standstill, and it's quickly backing up to Center Street. So you need to allow extra time on your drive if you're heading southbound I-15 this morning. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Troy, I want to spoil the crud out of our amazing customers during Bish's RV Customer Appreciation Month.
Oh, I'm with you. We're throwing the biggest customer appreciation sale in our history.
Okay, this should be good.
For starters, employee pricing is back on select RVs. Go to Bish's.com and click the Get Lowest Price button.
Stop! Cut the music.
What the heck?
You're leading with employee pricing? You gotta save your best for last, not first.
Can I just get back to the sale?
Just saying. Hit it, guys.
On top of employee pricing on select RVs, we're giving you 90 days no payments for all play and no pay OAC.
That's good too.
And no reasonable offer will be refused on remaining 2022s.
Whoa.
Plus, we'll trade anything. Just ask.
Cut the music.
What now?
Sorry, just feeling a little power hungry.
Is that it?
Yep, you're doing great. Hit it, guys.
Get employee pricing, 90 days no payments OAC, amazing trade value, and more during Customer Appreciation Month at Bish's RV in North Salt Lake and our new location in American Fork. Bish's RV, where memories begin.
Hi, we're Comparion Insurance Agency. Right now you're thinking, Comparion, never heard of them. We know. We also know that you have no idea that Comparion Insurance agents are local and provide expert advice. So to help it stick, we're going to say local agent 4 times in the next 15 seconds. Ready? Go. Our local agents know you and your community. Our local agents offer insurance from top carriers. Our local agents have minty fresh breath.
Find us at ComparionInsurance.com. Comparion Insurance Agency. Local agents, expert advice.
And there's number 4.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Hey, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, it's time to change the game. It's all about changing the conversation. I did that 18 months ago with SOTA Weight Loss. SOTA stands for state-of-the-art weight loss because it is state-of-the-art. I lost 37 pounds in less than 90 days, and here I am a year and a half later. I feel better, I sleep better, I perform better, and all through a very simple process. The pounds and inches roll away, and most important, you get to that strong space where you feel like yourself again or like you've got that energy. And I'm not the only one. There are countless people across the country, and right here in the state of Utah, I love to hear from people who will send me a text or pull me aside at an event and say, Boyd, I did it. I did it, and it worked, and it can work for you. So as I always say, when it comes to your SOTA weight loss journey, there's no time to lose. There's only time to win. So start winning. Check it out at sotaweightloss.com, SOTAweightloss.com.
Want to annihilate payroll problems? Wipe them out with Paycom. Paycom torches timesheet errors like a flamethrower. Oh, obliterates overtime blunders like a wrecking ball. Holy mackerel! And PTO problems? Paycom leaves them pulverized. Wow! Because with Paycom, employees do their own payroll right in the Paycom app. They find and fix errors before payroll submission, so HR can tackle important stuff, like performance incentives and retaining top producers, so your people can crush their goals. And with Paycom, employees enter and manage their own HR info, like onboarding, tax setup, and benefits enrollment. It's all in one powerful software with ironclad security. Stop doing that! Sick of HR and payroll headaches? Don't just eliminate them. Demolish them! At Paycom.com.
Advanced Window Products. Affordable windows from their factory to your front door in 8 weeks. Guaranteed. 801-850-9100 or AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Text us here in the studio about the weather in your area. The Cypress Credit Union KSL text line is 57500.
Emergency medical unit, respond to 102 Maple Avenue, possible stroke victim.
When stroke occurs, you have 60 minutes to win or lose the race of your life. There are new treatments, but you must get to a hospital fast. If you suddenly feel weakness on one side, have trouble speaking, walking, or seeing, it could be a stroke. Call 911. Get to a hospital. Because how you spend the next 60 minutes could determine how you spend the rest of your life. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, eviction rates are up in Utah, but pretty close to pre-pandemic numbers. Second, a Canadian aircraft reported hearing underwater noises near the site where a sub-vessel disappeared, hundreds of miles off the coast of Cape Cod. Still no sign of survivors. And third, today is the first day of summer, and it's unseasonably cold for this time of year. Right now, it is 58 degrees in Salt Lake City. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
I'll say I'm as surprised as you guys are. I didn't realize the Bible was controversial, but apparently it is.
Dave, have you read the Old Testament recently?
I have.
There's some stuff in there. I'm just saying.
Man.
That's maybe my opinion. It's not. It's a little boring. Way too much genealogy, Dave. But there's some other spicy historical stuff in there that could raise some eyebrows.
Yeah, you're like, who begat who? Wait, what happened with Lot and his daughters? That's the
easy.
worst.
Calm down. Yeah, let's not go there, Dave.
Like, man. Okay, I get it, but honestly, the Bible. There's something in our primary kids. We read out of the Bible all the time. So the fact that the Davis School District, that a committee decided, you know what, it's not totally offensive, but let's just remove it from junior high schools and elementary schools. It's more age appropriate for the high schoolers. Well, now the Davis School Board has reversed course and will allow the Bible in all district libraries. Okay, there you go. You got your Bible back.
I don't know that we ever really lost it, even in Davis County. I think there's a lot of political stuntmanship, if that's a word, happening here, Dave. Look, last session, Utah lawmakers passed HB 374, titled Sensitive Materials in Schools. The intention of this bill was to weed out books, materials in school libraries and classrooms that could be considered pornographic. That was the intent of the bill. Well, of course, with any law, with anything in this realm, opponents to the bill seized on an opportunity after the bill was passed to make a political point that the Bible could potentially be interpreted as having some sensitive content as well. That's really what's happening here, Dave. Just a little bit of political brinksmanship gameplay on both sides.
Senator Todd Weiler represents many in the Davis School District boundaries. You were the floor sponsor to this bill. What was your reaction when Davis School District decided to remove the Bible in many of these schools?
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Taylor. I was pleased because I think religious texts, whether it's the Bible or the Quran or the Torah or whatever, I don't think that those are pornographic. I mean, yeah, they deal with some – I've read the Old Testament. I know exactly what you guys are talking about, but they're not pornographic. And even the Song of Solomon is not pornographic. Not necessarily.
I don't know, Senator. My mission president made me glue that one shut during my mission, so he might disagree with you on Song of Solomon.
Well, okay, but I mean, yeah. But I mean, I've read some of the books that have been removed, or at least portions of some of the books that have been removed. These are books with X-rated content, nothing like the Bible or even the Book of Mormon or anything like that. And I understand. I was on my mission, and I left a Book of Mormon with a lady in Germany, and I came back, and she had crossed out the verse where Nephi had cut off Laban's head. She said she didn't like that part. I get that. I get those objections, but these are not graphic, graphic novels. It's not talking about blood squirting out and things like that. I'm just saying that there's a difference between dealing with a topic and, taking 800 words to describe a sexual act. And that's what, that's what the target of this bill was.
So why was the committee wrong in the Davis School District? They read through it. What was the reasoning behind it? What did you hear?
Well, as I understand it, the committee said we don't believe that this, that this violates, the sensitive materials for minor, but for other reasons we think it shouldn't be on the shelves. And that was appropriately appealed to the elected officials in Davis County, and I think in the Davis School Board, and I think they made the right decision. There's probably an argument for why religious text shouldn't be in school libraries, and that's a debate I wouldn't mind having as a state, but not because it's pornographic or X-rated. I think that's just ludicrous.
Yeah. Senator, we know that with any legislation, there can be unintended consequences. It's just one of the things that happens, and frankly, we know that the legislature often makes adjustments and technical changes to any bill to try to deal with some unintended consequences. In your opinion, do you think that the response specific with these religious texts to House Bill 374, are these good faith arguments, or is this a protest political move?
I think there's a little bit of both, Taylor, to be honest with you. And a lot of people call House Bill 374 book banning. The bill doesn't ban any books. What it says is if a parent is concerned about a text that's kind of snuck into a library, that they can ask for it to be reviewed. And there are some conservative groups nationwide who have put together a list of books that they think contain inappropriate material. And, one of those books is The Kite Runner. I've read The Kite Runner. I would let my kids, mature kids read The Kite Runner. My kids are all grown now. But the Kite Runner does deal with some sensitive topics, but it doesn't do it in a graphic sexual sort of way. And so, I think reasonable minds can differ, but there are some books that were in our junior high and high school libraries that are clearly inappropriate. And I want to go one step further. Some of those books deal with LGBT topics, and so if a parent asks for that book to be reviewed, they're like, oh, well, they just hate, gay people or they're transphobic. No, you can have a book with, that clearly contains pornography and also deals with racial issues or, cultural issues like LGBT issues. That doesn't mean, just because the book deals with some of these other, topics doesn't mean that we let porn into the schools. And so I think we can have books that deal with those topics, which I'm fine with as long as they don't contain X-rated material.
Senator Todd Weiler, thank you for joining us. Represents this area, or at least many in the Davis School District boundaries, where they have decided, the Davis School District Board of Education have decided to reverse course and allow the Bible in elementary schools, junior highs, and high schools. When we come back, we'll talk to Amy Kobe, KSL News Radio reporter who's been following this story, and get the latest on is this isolated to just the Davis School District, or are other schools in Utah dealing with this?
9:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, it's going to be an unseasonably cold first day of summer. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says we're normally in the mid-80s during the summer solstice, but not this time.
We're running a solid 10-plus degrees cooler than that. Only forecasting a high of 77 today. It will likely top out in the 50s and 60s in the mountains.
Matt says this is due to cold air lingering from the north, which brought some valley rain, even some very high elevation snow. But the good news is this is going to be short-lived, with highs back in the 80s tomorrow. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Oxygen is quickly running out inside the Titan submersible that went missing over the weekend during a dive to the Titanic wreckage. A Canadian aircraft reported hearing underwater noises, but the Coast Guard says they have found nothing in the search. Fran Capo is an adventurist who went on the sub back in 2005.
There's a bunch of survivor adventure people down there and need to go into survival mode, which means they're keeping the lights out. They're probably not talking.
Coast Guard estimates show oxygen could run out early tomorrow morning. Bullfrog Marina at Lake Powell is opening for the first time in 2 years. The National Park Service is reminding boaters that old waterways will have different danger levels, since water levels are much higher than past seasons. Your money at this moment, the Dow right now is off just a fraction. It's down just 0.8. We're at 34,053. Coming up, a cool first day of summer. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. Mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
It's camping season, and exciting adventures are waiting for you in a new RV from Motorsportsland. With this past winter lasting months longer than normal, the local RV season is finally kicked off and in full gear. Join hundreds of others in their search for outdoor adventure at Motorsportsland. We still have 2022 RVs in stock that we planned to have gone by March, but it was still snowing. They have got to go to make room for incoming orders, and we have crazy low prices on all 22s. Like our fully loaded 31-foot MPG travel trailer with a huge bunkhouse and 2 slide-outs at dealer cost for only $38,500. Or our Viking 1706 tent trailer below dealer cost for only $11,000. We have excellent financing as well as options with 0 down. Inventory at these prices is limited, so come in now and let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
If your water heater's over 10 to 15 years old, congratulations. You've beat the average. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I love hearing stories of people having water heaters that are really old and they're still doing their job. Unfortunately, most of us won't be that lucky. And when water heaters fail, it's usually in spectacularly inconvenient fashion. Whether it's an unexpected cold shower when we're already running late for work, or worse yet, coming home to a flooded basement, it's never fun. If you'd like to look into replacing your water heater before it fails, Any Hour Services is having a sale for any homeowners listening. Whether you're looking for a new tanked water heater or you want to see what upgrading to a tankless would cost, the plumbers at Any Hour Services can show you what options are available. And right now, you can save $400 on a tanked water heater or $1,200 on a tankless. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services today and schedule your free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-330-2929. That's 800-330-2929. 800-330-2929.
Hi, this is Clark Ivory with Ivory Homes. 2023 is turning out to be pretty fantastic. We are consistently selling 20 to 30 homes per week, and we've helped hundreds of families and individuals by buying down their interest rates. Visit an Ivory model home today. You can choose from over 200 home designs and customize your plan just the way you want. Make this a summer to remember. The summer you created your own Ivory home.
Emergency traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's High Yield Savings Certificates. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, traffic is at a crawl right now, southbound I-15 from Woods Cross all the way past Beck Street in North Salt Lake. This is due to a couple of different crash sites half a mile apart from each other. The first one is several vehicles blocking the right shoulder. The second one, half a mile down the road at Beck Street, is blocking 2 left lanes and the left shoulder, and all that has the traffic stopped in that area. The good news is the rest of the commute across the Wasatch Front is in good shape. Hot tub and $3,995 and big discounts on swim spas this week at Hot Tub Factory Outlet at Backyards of America. Get a $3,900 electric bike for only $500 with each purchase. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, the high today on this first day of summer will only reach 77 degrees, but then things start heating up. 85 Thursday, 83 Friday. We might get to 90 by Monday. Right now it's 58 degrees at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Your all-day companion for news.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
All right, the Bible is out. Now it's back in for the Davis School District. The Davis School Board of Education reversed course on a recommendation to remove the Bible from Davis School District junior highs and elementary schools. Now, there's a little bit to this, Taylor Morgan.
Just a little bit, Dave.
There's a little to this. Like, that's a big headline. Like, removing the Bible from elementary schools.
Yeah. This is simply, it's a lot of political gamesmanship happening, Dave. This all is essentially in response to a bill that lawmakers passed this last session that was targeted on removing books with sensitive content, sensitive meaning pornographic content, from school shelves in elementary and junior high, middle schools. That was the intention of the bill. Some opponents to the bill, again, this is my opinion now, clearly, in a protest political move, we had some folks use this bill as a tool to remove or try to remove religious texts from school shelves, the way I see it, in a protest to the original bill.
Yeah, framing this conversation is very, very interesting, because if you're to do any survey and you ask people, do you think we should be banning books in schools? Almost universally, people say, no, we shouldn't be banning books. But if you ask the next question, do you think pornographic or sensitive material should be available to kids in schools?
Yeah.
Then at almost the exact same rate, people say, no, absolutely not. So you've got these two arguments that don't really marry well.
That's right. And I think it's about appropriateness. What is age appropriate? What is accessible to students in public schools at, the elementary age level, at the junior high level, and in high school? There's different content, different subject matter is going to be appropriate for different age groups. And Dave, this is one of these, an example of, frankly, where is our common sense? Are we just tossing it out the window for political argument's sake? Where is the common sense in the conversation here? Obviously, certain books are not going to be appropriate for second graders that would be perfectly appropriate for juniors in high school. Why can't we just have some common sense?
Because common sense can't be politically weaponized. I think it is the right thing.
I think that's right.
Amy Kobabe joins us right now from KSL News Radio. Amy, you've been covering this story very, very closely. Very interesting to me. I grew up in the Davis School District, and my dad actually...
Where did you go to high school, Dave?
Late in high school.
Lancers? Is that
I'm a
right?
Lancer.
Fighting Lancers.
I'm a Lancer.
Go Lancers. Okay.
So this has been something that's been part of our family. My dad graduated from Davis High School, so we've been in the Davis School District forever. I was very, very surprised to see this pop up in the Davis School District. Amy Kobabe, are there other districts facing these similar protests or bans similar to Davis?
Yeah, definitely other districts across the state. Surprisingly, though, Salt Lake City School District has had 0 books challenged. So it's really, it varies by district. So what we did, along with the KSL TV, was we grammar requested every single school district and said, okay, how many of these challenges have you received? How many have you reviewed? And where do things sit now? Are there books that have been pulled? What books are they? And, what's the policy that you're following? So we got all of that back from most districts. Most districts across the state have had 0 books challenged. So we talk about Davis, and it makes it seem like there's just this rapid fire to pull books off of shelves. But that's not completely the case across the state with even Salt Lake City school districts. But then you have, let me see, I'm looking at our chart here, Granite School District, 94 books have been challenged, 26 have been removed, 23 additional books are, 42 books are still pending an appeal, just like the Bible went through in the Davis School District, where they decided to put it back on the shelves. So it's pretty varied when you look at the districts, and then even if you look at the individual books that are being banned, it gets even more varied.
Interesting. What is that process like? Can you walk us through that process? If I'm a parent and I don't like a book that is currently on the shelves in my child's school, how do I challenge that book, and how does that process play out? Can you walk us through that?
That's a great question. So in the Wasatch School District, a little bit smaller one, I'll use it as an example, they tell us that it has to be a parent, a teacher, or another employee within the district. And those people can then, they have it on their website. You can go on their website and they have a link there to send in a challenge. And they've told us that a couple of parents, not many, have done this. They say there's one parent that's very active in doing this, but you can go on there and list the book and then also list the reason why, what school district or what school it's in and the reason why. And that's what we saw with the Bible in Davis School District, was a concern that it was inappropriate, and then also listed, certain Bible verses. And so that process then, that claim, that challenge, goes to a committee that is, according to the school district, mostly parents. And those parents then have some time to read the book and decide what if it falls under a bright line rule, which would be, it's just clearly pornographic and they have to pull it from shelves, or if there's a little bit more subjectivity and it could be appropriate for older age groups, but not appropriate for younger age groups. And in the Wasatch School District, Wasatch County, 45 books have been challenged, 11 have been pulled. And so 11 books have gone through that process, and the school district has decided that they're not appropriate at all, and they won't be on school shelves.
Amy Kobe, thank you for joining us. KSL News Radio has been doing some great reporting following this story. Davis is the largest school district or has had the most book challenges and have removed the most books. Is that correct?
And challenges and 38 books removed. Yes, that is the largest that we've seen.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Hey, when we come back, this will surprise you a little bit. There was a GOP debate for Representative Chris Stewart's seat. You probably didn't know anything about it. Don't worry, we're going to catch you up because there were a lot of candidates.
A lot, Dave.
A lot.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Before Dave and Debbie get started each day, this station is all news all morning.
And later today, we follow up on those stories as you drive home.
Get important news all morning and all afternoon.
Here on KSL News Radio.
Hey, folks, let me tell you, on Fridays, all month long, you can get a free Frazzle. And if you're like, well, I have no idea what a Frazzle is, then you are missing out. A Frazzle is a slushie. So on these warm summer days, I mean, it's kind of cool-ish right now. It's going to be in the 90s before you know it. But a fresh, wonderful, delicious Frazzle is a great way to cool off during the summer. We did this on Friday. My son was telling me Wednesday and Thursday, Friday, Dad, right? We're going to go on Friday? Like, yeah, man, we're going to go get the free Frazzle. Settle down. Don't worry about it. But he was so excited. He was even willing to come do chores. We went to the landfill, the big stinky landfill, and he was fine with it because he knew he was going to get the free Frazzle. I'm telling you, he was that committed to it. So if you're interested, check it out. You'll get a free 12-ounce Frazzle on Friday, every Friday during the month of June. So go check it out. Pomegranate, orange, guava, the Pog, that is my favorite. So go check it out. Free Frazzle Friday.
Emergency traffic on KSL News Radio. We still have 3 miles of stop-and-go traffic southbound I-15 between Woods Cross and Beck Street in North Salt Lake. This is due to an accident that scattered over about a half-a-mile area. The first section you'll run into is on the right shoulder just before the on-ramp from Beck Street. And then half a mile down the road, you'll see many more vehicles blocking the left lane, the HOV lane, and the left shoulder. And that's what's keeping traffic really slow through that stretch of freeway. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Howdy, it's Julie from Logan. The price of gas is outrageous right now, but thankfully not all great adventures are far and away. Escape to Logan for tons of fun. Check out a free concert every weekday. Gallop on up for Clarkston's Pony Express Days this weekend. Sing along, well, quietly anyway, with the Lyric Rep's 1950s and 60s musical review, The Marvelous Wonderettes. I saw it already and it's fabulous. They're also premiering a big band version of Shakespeare's comedy Twelfth Night. Chill on Center Street before or after the show and sink your teeth into hand-tossed sourdough pizza, a brew and a burger, hand-dipped chocolates, or delicious goodies from fun cafes. Don't forget, your hotel is only 10 minutes from the National Forest for hiking and biking, bird watching, and wildflower spying. Take gorgeous photos and drink in the stunning scenery. Next weekend, 1,000 classic cars roar into town for the spectacular Cache Valley Cruise-In Car Show. It'll be fun, fun, fun with the Beach Boys in concert. Head to Logan. You won't break the bank on less than a tank. ExploreLogan.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, speed bumps will soon be installed along 13th South in Salt Lake City. It's welcome news for some who say people drive too fast on that road. Second, the Davis School District is returning the Bible to school library shelves after a unanimous vote by the district board. And third, the Bullfrog Marina is opening its main ramp at Lake Powell for the first time since 2021. Right now it's 58 degrees in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Amanda just talked about Lake Powell, and you cheered. Is it because you've slowly watched that lake just disintegrate over the last couple of years?
Dave, I am watching this year every morning. My whole family can tell you every single morning. One of my routines lately is I get on the Lake Powell water database to see where the lake level is and to check which ramps are open. The Bullfrog main ramp, it's open, Dave. It's like Christmas. I'm so excited. I did cheer in studio before we came back on.
Cheer, giggled. It was a little...
Dave, come on now.
A little bit of both.
Giggle? I did giggle.
It was a giggle.
I'm excited. We're only a few feet away, Dave, from the Castle Rock Cut opening. That is what I'm really excited for.
Yeah, it's been incredible. What are we up? Maybe 60-something feet?
50 to 60 from the point last year this time.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It is.
Yeah, it's been incredible to see, and you don't even recognize it when you look at the before and after pictures from last year to right now. It's been incredible. But let's not talk about Lake Powell.
Are we sure?
Even though you're pretty excited.
We could talk Lake Powell, Dave, if you want. I think Lake Powell might be more exciting than this segment coming up here.
Well, let's keep it, a little southern Utah then maybe. Let's talk about Congressional District 2, Chris Stewart's seat. He's resigning September?
Yep, September.
Yeah, September something. Anyway, I'll be darned. I totally had forgotten about this. They are already in debate season. They hosted a GOP debate last night. There's another one planned. I think it's for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you're wondering who was at the first debate, it's a list. So
everyone was at the debate, Dave.
I'm just going to say the names because you got to know who's on the docket. So you got Henry Eyring, not the apostle, but his son, I believe, or grandson. Becky Edwards, Scott Hatfield, Kathleen Anderson, Greg Hughes, former Speaker of the House, Bill Hoster, Celeste Malloy, Jordan Hess, Scott Reber, Bruce Huff, Quinn Denning. That is a significant list.
A long list, Dave. And the exciting thing is that the Republican convention, the nominating convention held by the Utah Republican Party to narrow down this field and select one candidate that is the party's convention nominee, that happens in just a few days, Dave. It happens this Saturday, June 24th in Delta, Utah. So Delta, not the Delta Center, mind you.
That would make sense.
We're talking Delta, Utah, as in the city, a couple hours away from Salt Lake City, hour and a half away from St. George. Those are kind of the two largest population areas of the 2nd District. That is happening again this Saturday, June 24th.
I won't be able to play you sound bites from every one of these individuals, and over the next several months, we will bring in these candidates and we'll talk to them, but we're going to have to just, like, this is just a sip of the drink right now. We're going to play a few sound bites, but there were several questions that I thought were asked. The first one was the debt ceiling bill that passed recently. Would you have supported it or not? Here's what Greg Hughes, former Speaker of the House here in Utah, had to say. Well, that's right. I have to play this. All right, here we go. Greg Hughes.
So the quick answer is I would not. And the easy reason is that the deadline for that is January of 25. Does anyone remember the Pelosi bill of January 23? A lame duck Congress, one that's left power, been removed from power, being able to build a giant budget, an irresponsible budget. I can't understand why, even on that date alone, that was okay to do.
Yeah, no surprise in that response from former House Speaker Greg Hughes. Greg Hughes, I think, is pretty well positioned in this race. Hughes ran for governor most recently. Dave, he performed very, very well in southern Utah, particularly in Washington County and Kane County, and some of these areas in southern Utah that are squarely within the 2nd District. I know that Greg Hughes has been out aggressively meeting with Republican delegates in that area and elsewhere. I think he's fairly well positioned in this race. And look, I don't know that anyone stood out in this debate. I think with that many candidates on the stage, no one has really a chance to stand out. He certainly didn't make any big mistakes.
They split it up in kind of a unique way. I think they had basically two sets of debates. So they had 5 people, and then they asked them the questions, and the other 5 were sequestered, 5 or 6 were sequestered, and then they rotated them in and out, because 11 people on a stage is a disaster. That's almost impossible to do. So they divided it up. Now, I want to talk about Bruce Huff. Now, I'm almost embarrassed to call Bruce Huff the father of Derek and Julianne, just because he's so much more than that. You know, he's his own man. He has a great resume.
He's one of our Republican National Committee people. He represents the Utah Republican Party to the National Republican Party. He's been very involved in party politics and statewide politics for a very long time. And, yeah, he just so happens to be the father of Utah's 2 most famous dancers.
Yeah, he's got famous kids. He's very proud of them and loves them, obviously. But, yeah, he's a politician as well, and he's been very involved for a long time. The question that was asked of him was the Respect for Marriage Act that was passed last year. Would you have voted in favor of the bill? And this was Bruce Huff's response.
For me, the primary question isn't even that bill. It's the idea of, can we protect religious liberty? And the intention of that bill was purportedly to do that. But I have to say that I probably would have voted with Mike Lee on this one. I think Mike actually had the right idea in further protections for religious liberty in that bill, and I think that they were a bit watered down. So my vote would have been no on that, not because I don't think the overarching purpose of the bill was fine, but because it didn't go far enough in protecting religious liberty.
I thought that was interesting. Most of the candidates at the debate, Dave, had a similar response. They indicated that they also would have voted no on the Respect for Marriage Act. Only 3 of the candidates, Kathleen Anderson, Becky Edwards, and Celeste Malloy, said that they would have also voted yes for the Respect for Marriage Act that passed last year. So certainly a little bit of difference there in the field, but again, so many candidates here. Hard to distinguish between any of them, really.
Another candidate that is well known in Utah politics is Becky Edwards. She challenged Mike Lee for the Senate.
That's right.
In the primary, she ended up losing that primary to him, but now she's running for the Congressional District 2. She was asked, is there a presidential candidate in the 2024 field that you support? Who are your top choices? And this was Becky Edwards' response.
I hope you're all looking at it just like I am. I'm looking for a candidate that I can support that can win the White House. This is important because we need to have Republicans in the White House so we can right the ship, quite honestly, and we can have some accountability on the Republican Party, which for far too long has actually had a credibility problem with spending. Let's be honest about that too. We need to look at every single person on this ballot, and I'm interested in seeing people take their expertise and put it on the federal level, and really we're starting to see some interesting things out of several candidates.
A little bit of a non-answer there from Becky Edwards, Dave, to be honest. We didn't hear her say anything about Donald Trump specifically. We didn't hear any other names of Republican contenders for the nomination in 2024. Look, Becky ran against Trump in her race with Mike Lee. She tried to tie Senator Lee to Trump and ran against them together. So a bit of a non-answer from here. I would like to hear more from Celeste Malloy going forward. We know that Chris Stewart has endorsed Celeste Malloy in this race. She has worked as an attorney in his office. She's an interesting candidate. I look to hear more from and about Celeste Malloy in the days ahead.
When we come back, Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith joins us. Huge announcement regarding Jazz broadcasting. You're going to be amazed. You'll be able to watch all the Jazz games next year for free. That's huge. Ryan Smith next.
KSL Salt Lake City. Listen on the KSL News Radio app and in your car at 102.7 FM. KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour, great news for boaters. Bullfrog Marina's main ramp is open again for the first time since 2021. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnson has that story.
Until now, people with bigger watercrafts have had to sit back and watch smaller boaters have all the fun at the marina. But as of yesterday, water levels are finally high enough for them to launch their crafts as long as they're 25 feet or shorter. Before you hook up your trailer and head south, it's important you check the Park Service website for preferred visitor areas and dangers to look out for.
Some of those warnings are to watch out for fellow boaters and trees hidden under the water. May's median home sale price was the highest since June of last year, came in at $3,000 less, though, than the high of $426,000. The National Association of Realtors reports new listings also went up 10% since April. In Salt Lake, home sales jumped a little more than 10%. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Federal Trade Commission taking aim at another big tech firm, this time Amazon. ABC's Mike Dabuskis has details.
The FTC alleges that Amazon used dark patterns to get users to sign up for its Prime subscription service. The agency says those patterns amounted to design choices made on the website. In one example the FTC gives, Amazon's checkout page shows multiple options by which to subscribe to Prime, with a less prominent way to check out normally. The suit also claims the company knowingly made the cancellation process for Prime more complicated. Mike Dabuski, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the NASDAQ having a down day, 178 points down. The Dow right now down only 6 points. And our KSL weather is going to clear up. Lots of sunshine ahead. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01. What do you need to hear in the morning to feel ready for the day?
Important news that happened overnight, the traffic you'll hit on the roads.
You'll be ready for your day with us.
Join Utah's Morning News 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
I've worked hard to get where I am. I don't cut corners. I see opportunity and make the most of it. And I'm celebrating that success in style by heading to Jerry Seiner Cadillac to get the car I've been working for. They have new XT4, 5, and 6 models in stock and the area's largest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles. I've put in the work and I've earned the luxury that only comes with a Cadillac. If you have too, then it's time to visit Jerry Seiner and experience the Seiner difference.
With our roots in northern Utah, Holy Cross Hospital has a legacy of caring to help every person be whole and healthy. Find us at 5 Holy Cross Hospital locations and more than 45 clinics along the Wasatch Front. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
At Holy Cross Hospital, we're honored to carry the legacy of our namesake and equally honored to care for northern Utah's vibrant communities. Find us at 5 Holy Cross Hospital locations and more than 45 clinics along the Wasatch Front. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
You know how they always used to ask you in grade school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I bet I'm the only kid who ever stood proud and said, I want to be a rain gutter or siding installer. Jim Jr. here with RGS Exteriors, and man, I can still remember all those wannabe astronauts and quarterbacks looking at me like I was an idiot. Who would want to install rain gutters or siding? Somebody who was a fourth generation in business. That's who. My great-grandfather, T.R. Brown, started the company in the 50s. Then my grandfather took over from him, then my dad, Tim Sr., and now I've been at the helm since 2005. Every day I wake up and think, man, I'm living the dream. And now my own kids are starting to work in the business too. 5 generations. If you want gutters, siding, windows, or any exteriors on your home, and a company that really cares deep down to our souls, give RGS a call, 801-280-3110, or find us online, rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com. 801-280-3110, rgsutah.com.
Would you be upset if you lost $111,000 in retirement income? Get this, 96% of Americans, 96% lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income. Learn how you could avoid this in a free report, the Social Security Decisions Guide from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. If you saved at least $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, get this free report by calling 801-682-4448. This free report is loaded with critical information that can help you avoid losing $111,000 in Social Security income. So call 801-682-4448. That's 801-682-4448. Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Here's Heather Kelly.
We still have a crash southbound I-15 right near Beck Street in the cleanup stages. It's still blocking the HOV lane and left shoulder, but with all the rest of the lanes open, traffic is backed up about half a mile. It's still crawling along, but at least it's not a 3-mile delay as it was earlier. Then you have construction delays out in Summit County. This is US 40 southbound as you approach the Park City turnoff all the way down to the Jordanelle Reservoir. A must-see Utah Symphony performance of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, in concert. The entire movie plays on the big screen as the Utah Symphony performs the full score in sync with the film. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, cool temperatures today for the first day of summer. 77 for the high. It warms up through the rest of the week. 85 tomorrow and 90 by Monday. There's no chance of rain in the forecast right now. It's 60 degrees and sunny at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Your all-day companion for news.
Dave and Dujanovic.
All right, Taylor Morgan is filling in for Debbie Dujanovic today, who is off. Morgan, can I tell you a little bit of a story?
Please.
Just so you can get to know me a little bit. This is going to sound like hyperbole. I wish it were not, but it is true. The greatest moment of my life happened on May 29th, 1997.
Stockton, open three. John Stockton sends the Utah Jazz to the NBA Finals.
To this day, I get chills.
What a moment. Yeah.
Oh.
I remember that moment. I was on my senior trip, Dave, in San Diego with some buddies. We had found a sports bar out of the way, and we're all decked out in our Jazz gear and derided, by the way, by the bandwagon Bulls fans
for sure.
of the time, right?
Yeah.
And when Stockton hit that shot, Dave, oh, man, we erupted and were kicked out a few
immediately.
moments after.
Yeah, no, I would have absolutely. I'd scared my entire family away from me watching this game because I was just so fanatical. But what really caused my Jazz fandom, mania, insanity, whatever you want to call it, I used to watch every single Jazz game on K-Jazz that year. It was me, my 13-inch television, and rabbit ears. And then, this is everyone could watch Jazz games for free. Then money won. The Jazz left K-Jazz for the big cable TV contracts. Everyone did this. The entire NBA followed this, right? They left local. They went to the cable TV. They made tens of millions of dollars. And slowly but surely, the Jazz games kind of fizzled out on the local side of things. Well, yesterday, Jazz owner Ryan Smith announced that he's bringing the Jazz games back to free TV on K-Jazz.
Do we have to have rabbit ears?
You do have to have rabbit ears. I mean, they have better rabbit ears now. It's not actual rabbit ears. But yeah, joining us right now, Jazz owner Ryan Smith. Ryan, thank you for joining us.
Hey, no problem. How we doing, guys?
Doing great. Hey, this is so nostalgic. I mean, it's the Delta Center once again, and Jazz games are on K-Jazz. Are you kidding me? Why was it so important for you?
It's the 90s again.
It's my life's goal to give you some better memories than the ones we've had. I love them. I was there, but shouldn't we get some new ones that are like one step further?
Yeah. I'm
there. I think we're due for one big memory.
Yeah, that will definitely replace the previous best moment of my life, no question. It's something about
it's all part of it.
It is all part of it. Why was it so important? Because I think what shocked me when you made this announcement to bring back free TV, free Jazz games, was how many tens of millions of dollars you're giving up to do so. Why was it so important to say no to the big TV contracts and to provide them for free?
Yeah, so look, it's definitely expensive. There's no question. I think that's what it's about. It's a big bet. It is a big bet, and there's no one in the NBA or professional sports that is basically doing what we're doing if you really start to unpack it. We essentially are standing up our own media and production company. We're pulling everything in-house.
Wow.
Everything in-house, and we're betting on ourselves, and we're betting on Utah fans. And we're saying, hey, we're the fastest growing state. We understand how we all were and became Jazz fans. What if we change the model entirely? We really don't have a really long-term contract with K-Jazz. It's truly a partnership. And we're saying, I think if we do something different here and focus on what is right and what we feel like the proper fan experience should be. Like, I'm long on the Utah fans. I'm bullish on the Utah fans. Like, I think we have a chance to do something that's different than any other city and state in the league.
I am afraid that it is too good to be true. So that when the next big TV contract gets offered, that it'll just be too easy to snap up those dollars.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of went through a one-way door.
How so?
I don't. I mean, we're truly building out the production quality where this is going to be a core competency of what we do. Similar to how you all are in the media business, like we're basically saying, hey, we're in the sports and entertainment business. We're in the real estate business with Arena. And we're now in the media business. And as you start to think about how we're going to work this out, but we're with the media goal to say, hey, how do we get as many Utahns as possible and outside of Utah? Idaho, Wyoming, up in the Pacific Northwest where we can go. And then if you segment our audience, the problem with these large TV deals is, at least on the local side, is we assume it's a one-size-fits-all. And, I come from a world of experience, but it's also very much a segmentation world. So we help organizations look at their consumer base, like Delta Airlines or whatever it is, and say, hey, who is our audience? And you have all of these different profiles of people. You've got young people, you've got business people, you've got, people who want a personalized experience. And so what we are going to do is build a personalized experience for every individual in the state to watch the way they want to watch and try to grow beyond that. And we believe that if we can do this, we're up for the task. The organization, Jim Olson, the team here, we've been working at this since we took over, and that's the bet. And that's just a belief. It's a core belief of who we are. And I don't think that's going to change.
Joining us right now is Jazz owner Ryan Smith, who made a huge announcement yesterday to announce that Jazz games are going to be on free television, going back to K-Jazz. But you're also adding, as you said, as you're reaching out to as many people as possible, there will be a streaming element to it as well. How does the streaming work?
Yeah, the dream here and the goal is that there will be streaming through UtahJazz.com. It'll likely be in conjunction with the streaming model of the NBA and the app. And so there will be a fee that will be subscription based for the streaming, which is a little different than the K-Jazz, but that's just kind of par for the course for that asset. And I think that, it should be a good solution to a lot of people who want to look at that. But we also have all the flexibility in the world to bundle different value with that, whether it's tickets, games, however that is. Like we control our destiny here. We're true free agents in this market where we can play in a way that we can focus on the experience. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's going to take some time. I mean, we've been working on this for a couple of years, and this is like a 5-year vision, but we're starting this year with both options, and it's, probably whatever we launch at the beginning is going to be wrong, and we're just going to keep tweaking and tweaking, and it'll get better and better.
Yeah, Jazz owner Ryan Smith with us. Ryan, just before we let you go here, Dave is dying to know. I think he's too afraid to ask, so I will ask for him. Who are you, just between us, right? Who are you drafting tomorrow? Dave is dying to know.
So first of all, if anyone has an idea to predict the next 48 hours of this NBA, we'll hire you right now because I don't think anyone can really predict. What I do know is if we look at who we have in that draft room, I feel like they're sleeping at the facility right now. I'm here now. Well, from Danny Ainge, Justin Thanek, you've got Luka for international. Guys are good.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
Danny,
Dave's going to be over there knocking on the front door trying to find out.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, it's super difficult, but the good news is we've got cap space, we've got a war chest of picks, and a lot of the discussions run through Utah. So that's a good spot to be in.
Love it.
Taking a lot of phone calls, I'm sure. So excited for it. Jazz owner Ryan Smith, thank you so much for taking the time.
All right, guys.
Take care.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And yeah, the Jazz draft tomorrow, Taylor. I have been so in. I am absolutely obsessed with the draft. To get this Jazz information, to find out that they're going to go back on free television. I'll tell you this. Part of the reason this is such huge news, as big of a Jazz fan I am, my kids are not there yet.
I hear you. Yes.
Because they didn't have access. Because we were cord cutters before it was cool to be cord cutters.
Yeah.
So we didn't have access to the Jazz games. We had to pick them up at grandma's house or, at somewhere else. It just wasn't in our house. So they didn't grow up the rabid fans that we were. Well, when it's on every night, 82 games a year.
Yeah.
And it's accessible and it's free, we're going to sit down as a family and we're going to watch this.
And you get invested.
Yeah, because what it used to cost is you had to get a cable subscription. You had to buy the right tier. It could cost you well over $100 a month to even have access to the Jazz games. And for a lot of families, they're like, it's just I can't justify that. And that's why we are such cord cutters in this country. Well, this is the option to give you Jazz games get it for free. I think it's an incredible move. It's, as you heard Ryan Smith say, we're betting on ourselves.
Yeah, betting on Jazz fans. And the Jazz have always had that community buy-in from Utahns. I love it. I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Yeah, you can be a Cougar fan, you can be a Ute fan, but everybody's a Jazz fan. Thank you, Ryan Smith, for joining us. When we come back, the Granite School District has announced a huge pay raise for educational support professionals. You're like, well, who's that? Is that teachers? Are teachers getting another raise? No, everyone but teachers. Let's talk about it next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Did you know Utah has just one all-new station in the morning?
It's this one. Weekday mornings between 5 and 9.
Start your days with us. We're Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Your morning companions for news.
Removing the Bible may be just the beginning.
When the legislature passes a law to preclude certain conduct, sometimes it catches things that they never intended to catch.
In a case of unintended consequences.
This is actually something the majority of parents don't want to see.
Reporter Amy Kobabe goes cover to cover on the story. Battle of the Books, this week on KSL News Radio.
The biggest RV show in the region is growing. The Utah Summer RV Palooza is back and bringing the heat to Sandy, June 22nd through the 24th. For 3 days only, the shops at Southtown will be packed with the largest selection of new and used RVs in the region. Shop brands like Ember, Forest River, Northwood, and more. You'll even find the hard-to-get Go Play 26BH bunkhouse travel trailer at a sales price of only $19,995. But that's not all the summer savings we're serving up. Save up to 20% below cost on select new 2022 RVs. Yeah, up to 20% under cost. We're also offering 90 days no payments on approved credit for all play and no pay until September. Plus, right now, we'll trade anything. Bring your trade to the show and we'll hook you up. Don't miss your chance to enter to win a brand new $30,000 RV. No purchase necessary. See rules for details. All during the Utah Summer RV Palooza in Sandy. Only June 22nd through the 24th at the shops at Southtown. Sponsored by Vicious RV.
Getting close to retirement? Or have you retired? You've probably got a ton of stress-filled questions on your mind. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth. Getting a second opinion with an individualized investment plan is vital, and our fiduciary advisors do just that. Take it from this Trajan Wealth client.
It was just so pleasant, so comfortable. I think we had 7 different accounts, just stuff scattered all over the place. And then so we just started, here's this, move this. And he even explained it a couple different times. But if I have more questions, he said, just give us a call. And that's what I love. He's a phone call away. Like, I'm glad I know these guys. Such a huge weight off my shoulder.
Imagine not second-guessing investments or monthly retirement income. That's the peace of mind you'll get from working with Trajan Wealth. Call 801-899-7600 today or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Actual client, no compensation, no conflicts. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit AnyHourServices.com.
This week's movie show is brought to you by My Hearing Centers. Learn about the amazing new Signia X hearing aid and find out how you could win a free pair from My Hearing Centers.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, boaters are able to use the Bullfrog Marina again for access to Lake Powell. Second, the national average home price has gone down by about $3,000 in recent months. And third, the government's suing Amazon, accusing the company of using deceptive practices to get people to sign up for Amazon Prime. Right now, 60 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
All right, the Granite School District giving employees what many would say a much-needed raise. Taylor Morgan filling in for Debbie Dujanovic today. A raise for not school teachers, but for everybody else.
Yeah, a much desperately needed raise for these support staff in Utah's public schools. Dave, these folks, they have some of the hardest jobs. And we know that this last legislative session, the governor and Utah lawmakers gave public educators, teachers, an historic pay raise. But these people, the support staff in our public schools, they were not included in that pay raise, Dave.
Yeah, these are the teacher's aides, the reading tutors, recess, lunchroom folks. I was looking at the Granite School District, the starting pay on the lowest level, $10.99.
Yeah,
an hour.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say I looked at a burger joint. I'm not going to tell you which burger joint, but let's just say they'll get you in and out in a jiffy.
And I think you might be able to get animal-style fries.
Yeah, there's definitely animal-style double-doubles. They make $17 an hour.
17
an hour.
Wow.
And then it also says, well, you could earn up to $20.50 an hour. So these educational support professionals in the Granite School District, they're looking at a big pay raise. Ben Horsley with the Granite School District joins us right now. Ben, what kind of raise are we talking about?
We're talking about a $4 an hour raise across the board for all educational support professionals in those positions. This is bus drivers, food service workers, as you've indicated, aides in the classroom spaces that were making $11 an hour will now be closer to a more competitive wage so that we can compete with that private sector that has been stealing all of our valuable employees and make sure that our licensed employees and our kids have the support that they need.
You say the private sector has been stealing your people. Give us a sense.
They have.
Yeah, walk us through that. Recently, over the last year, 2 years or so, how many staff have you been losing to the private sector?
Since COVID, we have not been at full staffing in any of those types of positions anywhere. Ask any school. It's hard to find what we call paraprofessionals or aides in the classrooms. We were working about 65% of our normal staffing for food service, which has detrimental effects. We've been barely hanging on with our bus drivers. And when I say compete, we don't have if we're a local business maybe serving a double animal style, and we don't have enough employees, what do? You raise prices and you increase the cost that you're pushing out to your employees. Public education doesn't have the ability to do that. We have to work off the budget that was adopted the previous year based on the funding we received from the legislature. And so this is the time and the place to kind of bring that back into alignment and make our starting salaries and our wages more competitive and bring those folks back into the classroom.
Ben Horsley is with the Granite School District and just announced a $4 raise across the board for all paraprofessionals. It's the bus drivers, teachers' aides, reading tutors. Everybody, I would imagine, is pretty excited about this. Where are the greatest areas of need in the Granite School District?
Right, as of that release and when that pay scale was adopted at our most recent board meeting, we had over 35 openings in secretarial and aide positions and over 50 openings in just our maintenance facilities. That's custodial workers, plumbers, electricians, painters, things of that nature that help maintain our schools that have just been open positions. We just can't fill them. We're not competitive, and we're not able to do so. And what's been remarkable since this has kind of leaked out, and as principals have become aware and hiring, we see more and more people saying, I'm going to stay. We're able to retain some quality folks, and we know that our openings have had more applicants, so we're very excited about it.
Ben, how does this pay raise in Granite School District, how does this compare with other school districts? This is kind of a unique situation, right? Because you're a public entity as a public school district. Are you in a position to be competing with other school districts for the same people? Do you anticipate a similar pay raise, or have other districts already raised pay? What does the landscape look like across school districts adjacent to Granite when it comes to the pay for support staff?
I think Granite has been competitive in some areas and not competitive at all in others. And so this actually brings us into a more competitive range. We do see certain types of individuals who are looking to fill bus driver type positions. That's a unique personality and type of individual looking for that kind of job, and they jump districts, right? Substitutes. This will impact substitutes, right, and substitute pay. And those individuals are just taking jobs wherever the highest pay is. They're not necessarily loyal to one particular district or school. And so this will actually help us attract more employees. And if a few of those come from Canyons, I love Canyons, don't get me wrong, but man, we need to staff up in our schools.
I sense a little bit of a rivalry here. I like that.
You got to compete.
My apologies in advance to Jeff Haney and his team over there, but we want to take as many of their folks as we possibly can. Absolutely.
all the best, for sure.
I love it.
How much is this going to cost folks?
This is no small feat. I apologize. This is over $10 million in new funding, and it will require a tax increase, and we're not being shy about that across the board to improve compensation. In addition to what the legislature provided for our teachers, it's going to be about a $71 an hour. I'm sorry, not an hour, an annual increase of $71 on an average taxpayer within Granite School District. So we do anticipate Truth in Taxation coming up in August, and expect to hear from some of our taxpayers on that. But at the same time, we don't have the ability to just raise the price on our product. It's a free product. So the funding that we get comes from property taxes, comes from the legislature. There was in the WPU increase from the legislature intent language that indicated we should be looking to improve what we generally call classified or educational support professional pay. And so there is some requirement on the legislature that we do something about this so that we can get those folks back in our schools. You can't be a successful teacher. You can't have quality outcomes if you don't have the aides, the secretaries, the custodians that help make all those things function. So this is about quality education for our kids, providing quality outcomes for our students and our families, and having these people in our buildings providing that support is critical.
Ben Horsley, thank you for joining us. Granite School District, again, offering a big pay bump, $4 more an hour for paraprofessionals. That's the school bus drivers, reading tutors, recess, lunchroom ladies, stuff like that. So thank you for joining us, and good luck. Good luck filling up those positions, although, Taylor, it does sound like things are moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, the legislative session, there was a bill. It failed, but it's intriguing. It would have banned smartphones in school. Well, I'll hear from one school that did this, not in Utah, but nationally, that banned smartphones and what they thought about it. Was it a good experiment, or was it a disaster?
It's 10:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. Plans underway to bring more housing to downtown Salt Lake City. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla has more.
If you've been driving west of downtown Salt Lake City, you may see quite a bit of construction north of 200 South. It's all part of a master plan to revive the Depot District. Multifamily developments and easy access to public transportation are bringing people back to the area. The location provides quick and easy access to UTA buses, tracks, and the Front Runner.
The city's website says they hope to soon become the live, work, and play urban neighborhood that the modern adult craves. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Underwater noises detected by Canadian aircraft. They are the only encouraging sign in the ongoing search for a submersible. It went missing Sunday during a dive to the wreckage of the Titanic. The Coast Guard saying overnight their search has still yielded no results. ABC News spoke to Fran Capo, an adventurist who went on the sub back in 2005.
They may have come up with some strategies of things that they could try, but I think right now they're waiting it out and praying, and we're hoping that we will see them soon.
The biggest worry is that the supply of oxygen for the 5 people on board could run out by tomorrow morning. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up 36 points on the day, but the NASDAQ way down 137 points at this hour. And our KSL weather looks like sunny skies and warmer temperatures ahead. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:33.
We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Howdy, it's Julie from Logan. The price of gas is outrageous right now, but thankfully not all great adventures are far and away. Escape to Logan for tons of fun. Check out a free concert every weekday. Gallop on up for Clarkston's Pony Express Days this weekend. Sing along, well, quietly anyway, with the Lyric Rep's 1950s and 60s musical review, The Marvelous Wonderettes. I saw it already and it's fabulous. They're also premiering a big band version of Shakespeare's comedy Twelfth Night. Chill on Center Street before or after the show and sink your teeth into hand-tossed sourdough pizza, a brew and a burger, hand-dipped chocolates, or delicious goodies from fun cafes. Don't forget, your hotel is only 10 minutes from the National Forest for hiking and biking, bird watching, and wildflower spying. Take gorgeous photos and drink in the stunning scenery. Next weekend, 1,000 classic cars roar into town for the spectacular Cache Valley Cruise-In Car Show. It'll be fun, fun, fun with the Beach Boys in concert. Head to Logan. You won't break the bank on less than a tank. ExploreLogan.com.
There's never been a better time to go and discover this country. There's also never been a better time to buy a new motorhome. First thing, go to General RV during our Integra Motorhome Day sales event, June 21st through the 24th. Get up to 40% off Class A, B, and C motorhomes, making our prices the lowest in years. Save big on a new Integra motorhome now and discover how to have it all anywhere. Just head on down to General RV in Draper off I-15.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
He might not have a badge, but we have faith in his killer instinct. Celebrate the 10th anniversary of famed detective priest, Father Brown. Stream the new season now, only on BritBox.
That sounds like a marvellous plan.
Plus, watch even more unofficial detectives in much-loved series, including Agatha Christie's Marple, Murder in Provence, and more. Expect intriguing mystery. Expect the Undetectives. Start streaming today at BritBox.com.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Here's Heather Kelly.
We're now accident-free across the Wasatch Front and no delays right now on I-15 northbound or southbound through Utah, Salt Lake, Davis, or Weber counties. If you're on the Wasatch back, however, you do have construction delays on US 40. This is very typical for drivers now, but right now southbound as you approach SR 248 turnoff to Park City all the way to Jordanelle Reservoir is pretty much at a crawl. From now through July, get triple rewards points on gas and travel with a Visa Platinum Rewards card from Cyprus Credit Union. Visit cypruscu.com to learn more. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, cool temperatures for the first day of summer. Today's high 77. It'll warm up through the rest of the week. 85 tomorrow, 90 by Monday. And right now, no chance of rain in the forecast. 62 degrees and sunny at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM at KSLNewsRadio.com. Your all-day companion for news.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Should there be a ban on phones, on smartphones, when you're in the classroom, at schools? A lot of research has been done on this. There was a 2018 study that Governor Spencer Cox cited, links social media exposure to depression, anxiety. Are we even having the argument of whether or not, like, smartphones are good for kids?
No. Okay, that's a separate but related conversation.
Okay.
We might get into that, Dave. We're talking specifically about banning cell phones in schools. Last year, Utah Governor Spencer Cox called on schools to try cell phone bans in classrooms to improve kids' focus and their mental health. The governor said, and I want to quote him to be fair, he said, quote, "There's something about having it on your person, that connection where it's always, even subconsciously, it's just ticking away and you feel that you need to look at it and see what's happening because maybe you're missing out on something," end quote. That's the governor.
First of all, do you agree with that statement?
I think if you feel that way, you have a problem, Dave. And any school-age kid that feels that kind of anxiety with their cell phone, I think that their parents probably are dropping the ball when it comes to managing their kids' cell phone use. I think they already have a problem to begin with, and trying to ban cell phones in schools, it's not going to solve the problem. The underlying problem here is that parents are not doing enough to educate their kids and help their kids be responsible with cell phones and social media. That's how I see it.
Okay, I do like to blame a parent. I absolutely agree. In general, I like to blame a parent. But here's the problem with, I think, your argument.
Hey, just because I'm in Debbie's seat doesn't mean you have to disagree with me, Dave, right?
This is why I disagree on some level is when we send our kids off to school, we are no longer their parent. In parento loco parentis, something like that. There's some sort of Latin word. In loco parentis, I think is what it says. It's like you're sending your kids off to schools, and they are now responsible. They are now the parents. That is the law of the land. That's how it works.
Okay.
Because for 8 hours, for the majority of the day, I do not have control of my children. So I can't totally parent them. And my kids have the freedom to use their phones. And we can't be totally surprised that our kids take advantage. And that instead of listening to a boring discussion on civics that they don't have interest in, you and I do, but they don't in 8th grade, we can't be surprised that they're playing games. We can't be surprised that they're texting their friends.
Sure, we should expect that, which is why I have the ability as a parent to remotely control my kid's cell phone. And there's this beautiful thing, Dave. I can turn on school mode on my 13-year-old, my 8th grader's cell phone. He's going to be in 8th grade. I control his phone. I control it remotely. Guess what? I'm still his parent while he's at school. And he knows that while he's at school, he is in a no cell phone use zone already. It's in his backpack, but if he needs it for an emergency, if he is sick or something happens, he can still contact me or his mother in an emergency, but I still lock down his phone during school hours. I don't need the state government to get involved and regulate my 13-year-old son's cell phone use at school. That's my job, Dave. It's my job.
There was an article in The Atlantic I caught my attention, and this is why we're talking about it. It talked about the schools that banned smartphones, and they grabbed this school out of Delaware that had banned cell phone usage. And the reason they decided to ban cell phones is because they claimed that cell phones are not the necessity the outside world thinks they are. We think that for some reason, every one of our kids needs to have a smartphone. They need to have access. They need to, be part of the cool crowd and have the iPhone, whatever, 13, 14, 19, 27, 38. But are they the the necessity, and I've kind of gone back and forth of where I feel, okay, we need to just teach our kids how to use them appropriately, but I think we're failing. And are we setting ourselves up to fail by basically turning them loose for half the day where we don't have control? And I wonder if we are failing, is it a systemic failure? Or is this individually, all your parents individually, just look at yourselves in the mirror and figure out how to make it work?
Well, do we really think that our kids are going to change their behavior with their cell phones, with social media, just because they get to school and the school tells them there's now a ban, that they're not allowed to have that cell phone? Dave, I'm pretty sure that if you walk into most public schools throughout Utah, you are going to see signage on classroom doors and hallways that say no cell phone zone. I know that at my son's middle school in Draper, that's very much the case, that he is not allowed to have his cell phone out in the classroom, that he is allowed to have his cell phone and use it if necessary, during lunchtime. And that's about it. So, again, when it comes to my son and how he uses his cell phone, that's my job, to teach him the pros and cons and teach him about social media. He doesn't have access to social media because he's 13. He doesn't need that. And so any parents who feel like that they don't have the ability to keep their kids off social media, I would have the parents maybe revisit that decision to start with.
It's not just social media. It's video games. It's texting your friends. Even if it's not on social media, listen, plenty of parents text your kids during school hours.
That's true, yeah.
But one of the things this school in Delaware decided to do is they realized that we can't just do it ourselves. We've got to get the student body on board. So what they did is they went to the seniors and said, okay, is this something that you would be interested in? The seniors, after some discussion, decided, yeah, let's do it. Let's ban the school. Let's ban cell phone usage at the schools. And the faculty said, listen, we're willing to take the phones, but you guys got to police this. You've got to enforce it. So if you see someone with a phone, you got to tell them, hey, you got to turn that in to the dean or something like that. And the senior's like, okay, we'll do that.
Okay, wait. So we can't trust students to use their phones responsibly at school. So instead, we're going to empower other students to regulate those students' usage. Dave, how does this make sense? I mean, this student-on-student violence here when it comes to cell phone usage. I don't see how this is a good idea.
It's a culture thing, right? You have to change the culture. And if the leaders of the school, the seniors, if they get on board, you can see where it would trickle down.
I can see how it also would trickle up, Dave. I think that in a public school setting, putting the responsibility on older students to regulate the usage of younger students. I mean, come on, Dave. There's already all kinds of hazing and, look, not hazing, that's a strong word, but you know what I mean. Like seniors, we're going to empower seniors to give freshmen an even harder time at school. Come on now. Let's be real.
Okay, you're making some good points, which I can't say I'm surprised because you usually make some good points. But there was a final little thing where it was talking about how addicted we are to our phones. And here's my challenge to you, because I did this. How many apps do you have on your phone? I went through my phone. I counted them up. Are you ready for this?
Here we go. How many?
238.
How many of those do you use regularly?
I don't know. Probably 15 of them.
How many of those do you pay for and don't use?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But the fact that, listen, it's a kid problem. It's an adult problem. I think we need to have a real conversation about cell phone usage in the schools because you say that it's a cell phone free zone in these schools. Come on. That is not being enforced in any way at all.
It is up to the parents. It is no one's responsibility but the parents, because the parents are the ones giving their kids the cell phone to start with. They're paying for it, and it is the parents' responsibility to teach their kids how and when to use it.
Okay, let's take phone calls. 801-575-TALK. What do you think? Should we ban smartphones in schools? Or is this just a crazy idea? Or would this be just a relief for you parents? Just one more thing off your plate so you don't have to do all the parenting?
Oh, wow.
I just want to know.
Wow.
801-575-TALK, banning smartphones in schools. 801-575-TALK.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hi, it's Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Why should you start your day with us?
We have decades of news experience between us.
And we take your trust seriously.
Come here for news tomorrow, 5 to 9.
On KSL.
Would you be upset if you lost $111,000 in retirement income? Get this, 96% of Americans, 96%, lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income. Learn how you could avoid this in a free report, the Social Security Decisions Guide from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. If you've saved at least $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, get this free report by calling 801-682-4448. This free report is loaded with critical information that can help you avoid losing $111,000 in Social Security income. So call 801-682-4448. That's 801-682-4448. Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
It's June savings at Hot Tub Factory Outlet and Backyards of America. Our Memorial Day sales were so big that we've decided to continue our huge discounts. Save 20, 30, even 40% off select models MSRP. Hot tub starting as low as $39.95. You heard right, $39.95. Our hot tubs have never been priced better, and we're slashing prices on our swim spas and saunas, too. We need to move 50 hot tubs this weekend, and we're ready to give you incredible prices all month long. It's time to check out the biggest swim spa supercenter in the state. We have 8 in-stock models that can be delivered immediately. It might just be time to look at owning your very own swim spa. And for a limited time, get a $3,900 electric bike for only $500 with select hot tub or swim spa purchases while supplies last. Check out our showroom for styles, colors, and sizes. 2 locations, Draper next to Cowabunga Bay and Backyards of America in Sandy.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-330-1991. That's 1-800-330-1991. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-330-1991. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
ARUP Blood Services is in need of blood donations. Now that school is out for summer, they need local residents to donate blood. They need your help. Visit utahblood.org.
If you love to follow breaking news like we do, register for breaking news alerts by texting the Cyprus Credit Union KSL text line. Text the word news to 57500.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, new development around the Rio Grande Depot could increase the housing available on the west side of Salt Lake City. Second, Utah has the nation's highest rate of skin cancer, Vermont the other state with the highest risk. And third, a major international rescue effort is underway in the North Atlantic, but it may not be enough to save the 5 people aboard a missing submersible. Right now, 62 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We have so many phone calls, Taylor.
And they're all calling to agree with me, Dave.
You're probably not. Okay, well, I don't know. Let's see. You think they're going to agree with you? We wanted to know because there was a school in Delaware. I saw this story in the Atlantic talking about how they had banned smartphones in school. And by all accounts, they love it. The kids love it. The parents love it. They love having that reprieve from the phone. They get it back, at the end of the day. But the students were very, very supportive of it, which surprised me because I thought they would have revolted. So we're taking your phone calls, 801-575-TALK. Let's start off with Shelley in Mill Creek. Shelley, what do you think?
So I agree that parents should be in charge, but there's a lot of parents that aren't. And, kids have to have rules. I mean, parents aren't in charge of all the rules. When you go to school, you have to follow rules. And, the phone can be distracting if some kids have it and their parents haven't taught them stuff. I think, we got through school without cell phones. If there's an emergency, I'm sure a teacher would say, go ahead and get your phone out and call your parent. Or you can use the office phone. I mean, I just think that, we grew up fine without cell phones at all. And I just think that parents aren't totally, they're not all like this, your co-host, which I didn't get his name.
Hey.
So, I'm sorry, I just did, and I just started listening.
That's
so
okay.
Anyway, that's what I had to say.
Thanks for the phone call, weird co-host.
I mean, she's not totally wrong, Dave. She's not wrong. Yeah, my name is Taylor. I'm a little weird. That's a fair comment. But she did in part at least agree with me, Dave.
And in part, disagreed as well. Kevin in Kaysville, what do you think? What do you think about cell phones and the possibility of banning them in schools?
Well, I think, the cell phones are part of our lives now. It's here to stay. It's not a fad. Why not embrace the technology and utilize it as a resource in the classroom? Because kids these days, they have their phone connected with them. It's a part of their identity. Why not make the schoolwork and the tasks part, make it fun, make it part of, utilizing their phone that they're going to be on anyway.
There was, and when I was reading this article in The Atlantic, they actually talked about that idea of trying to embrace the phone and teach people how to use it. In fact, I think it was you had to scan a QR code to check in, for your attendance. So they were trying to make it as friendly as possible. My thought is, listen, the kids 24 hours a day are on their phones. They know how to use the phones. They know how to use the technology. I think the chances that you're using the phone appropriately versus the complete and total distraction they are, you can say you want them to be effective as much as you want. I think practically speaking, phones are a distraction. And I think that's probably settled science.
Yeah.
That the kids are not learning or are incapable of learning how to use them appropriately because there's 30 kids in a classroom. Your teacher is not going to monitor and try to police all 30.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I know that my 8th grader has a laptop that is provided to him by the school that he uses every day in class. Certainly, there's the potential for distractions on that laptop that the school has tried to regulate to some degree.
Yeah.
Right? So it's, a similar example.
There's still kids that end up on Disney Plus, though. I'm telling you, I've seen it. All right, we're going to blast through these next 3 callers. Doug in Salt Lake City. Doug, what do you think?
Well, it's a great idea on paper, but I have a son who's type 1 diabetic, so he has a blood glucose monitor, cell phone app. He also has an insulin pump, which is also on a cell phone app. And then he also has a pacemaker because his heart stopped when he was 4 several times. And it, guess what, is also on a cell phone app. Yeah. So while it sounds great on paper, if my son doesn't have his cell phone, he doesn't stay alive.
Yeah, Doug, you get a pass. He gets a pass. You get a pass. Your entire family gets a pass. 100%. Tiffany in Taylorsville, what do you think?
Oh, there's so many comments to address. I was working in the junior high for 2 years before cell phones became a normal thing for teenagers to have. Huge difference in behaviors in the classroom, with each other, respect for teachers, because it's theirs. And then once they learned, oh, I can say, you can't touch this, this is mine, then it just gets worse from there. And one of the bigger problems was that parents started calling and yelling at the school and the teachers and the principals for holding their phones and taking their phones away. So now it just becomes such a big problem to even do and parents don't support it. And so when you have students not following the rules because their parents are too big of a pain, then all the other kids see, oh, this is how you do it, because they follow each other. I have 3 of my kids went to a charter school, and they can ban it because it's a charter school. Public school is a lot different. They have to deal with a whole different demographic, whole different rules. My kids loved it. They loved putting their phone in their locker, because guess what? The classroom was it was a learning place. Nobody was on their cell phones. Nobody was fighting with the teacher and wasting time on that. It was such a huge difference.
And that very much goes, Tiffany, thank you for the phone call. That very much goes along with what I saw in this Atlantic article of a school that had banned smartphones, but it was a small Episcopal boarding school.
Yeah.
So, these private, smaller schools perhaps have a little bit more freedom to do so. Let's get a final phone call in there. Dave in Saratoga Springs. All right, let's hear it.
Hi, yeah, can you guys hear me?
We got you. Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah. Hey, so I've been a middle school and high school teacher for the past 17 years and kind of seen the rise of cell phones over that time. And I agree with the point that's been made before, 100%, that the parents should have total control of the kid's cell phone while they're at school and other things. But from my perspective, I would not be against a ban or tighter controls from entities higher than the teacher and the school administration, simply because the parents don't, there's a lot of parents that won't do what they're supposed to do or what they should do that's best interest for the kids. And that's fine for the kid and for their family and for their parents. But the problem is in the classroom, then it becomes other kids' problems. And so because certain kids can't control their cell phone use or their parents can't control their child's cell phone use, then it starts to impact the learning of the other children in the classroom and becomes problematic that way and affecting others. So,
Dave, thank you for the phone call. We appreciate the conversation. Interesting that Utah did have a bill. It failed, but it was to ban smartphones in schools. And I think it's a great conversation. We're trying to find that perfect balance between parenting and smartphones and kids' usage. It's a tough one to solve.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen on the KSL News Radio app and in your car at 102.7 FM. KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour. Part of Highway 14 east of Cedar City is closed right now because of a rock slide. That's impeding access to Cedar Breaks National Monument as well as Bryce Canyon. UDOT says they don't know how long it might be closed, but nobody was injured in the slide. A new study shows Utah has the highest rate of skin cancer in the country. An analysis from LendingTree parsed through CDC data, finding Utah and Vermont have the highest rates of skin cancer, with the lowest rates in Texas and Alaska. The report shows northern, colder states have the higher rate of skin cancer generally. It's possible that warmer, sunnier states are more accustomed to the habit of using sunscreen. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. 2% is the target rate for inflation, but right now it's sitting at around 4%. Fed Chair Jerome Powell told the House Financial Services Committee today the Fed will weigh risks versus rewards when it comes to making interest rate decisions.
We will continue to make our decisions meeting by meeting based on the totality of incoming data and their implications for the outlook for economic activity and inflation, as well as the balance of risks.
And your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down 34 points on the day now, had been up just a bit. The NASDAQ, though, down 161 points right now. And our KSL weather, we're seeing lots of sunshine forecast. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
Start your days with knowledgeable, friendly voices telling you about the latest news and weather out there.
Hi, this is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
In the business of waking you up each morning from 5 to 9.
On KSL News Radio.
So you'd like to start enjoying your home a little more without climbing the stairs or doing yard work. How about spacious living in a newly designed planned community with access to activities like golf, pickleball, and even leisurely strolls on beautiful open trails? It's yours with Nilsson Homes. They've been building homes across the Wasatch Front for over 45 years. Now see their latest single-level living community in Davis and Weber County. Brand new, move-in ready homes in the heart of Davis and Weber County, offering all the things you want in low-maintenance, luxury, single-level living. Easy access to just about everything. And best of all, no more stairs, lawnmowers, or yard work. Nilsson Homes has thought of everything, and it's done for you. Take advantage of amazing financing or reverse mortgage options. Nilsson Homes, luxury, low-maintenance living. Visit nilssonhomes.com. That's Nilson homes.com.
Howdy, it's Julie from Logan. The price of gas is outrageous right now, but thankfully not all great adventures are far and away. Escape to Logan for tons of fun. Check out a free concert every weekday. Gallop on up for Clarkston's Pony Express Days this weekend. Sing along, well, quietly anyway, with the Lyric Rep's 1950s and 60s musical review, The Marvelous Wonderettes. I saw it already and it's fabulous. They're also premiering a big band version of Shakespeare's comedy Twelfth Night. Chill on Center Street before or after the show and sink your teeth into hand-tossed sourdough pizza, a brew and a burger, hand-dipped chocolates, or delicious goodies from fun cafes. Don't forget, your hotel is only 10 minutes from the National Forest for hiking and biking, bird watching, and wildflower spying. Take gorgeous photos and drink in the stunning scenery. Next weekend, 1,000 classic cars roar into town for the spectacular Cache Valley Cruise-In Car Show. It'll be fun, fun, fun with the Beach Boys in concert. Head to Logan. You won't break the bank on less than a tank. ExploreLogan.com.
The UACPA supports certified professional accountants in Utah through ongoing professional education and leadership development for an ever-changing financial world. Find a CPA at uacpa.org.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Here's Ricky Meese.
Crews are clearing an accident in the Midvale-Murray area. This is eastbound I-215 South Belt. Near State Street, it's out of traffic on the right shoulder. Also a crash in Sandy, westbound 90th South at the I-15 junction. Gillette Heating and Air Conditioning is offering spring air conditioner tune-ups for only $59. Call 801-825-4500 to schedule today. A Carrier factory authorized dealer. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, cool temperatures today for the first day of summer. A high of just 77, but it warms up through the rest of the week. 85 tomorrow, 90 by Monday. Right now, no chance of rain in the forecast. 62 degrees and sunny right now at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Your all-day companion for news.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The Coast Guard is giving an update right
Best
now on that
capability.
missing submersible submarine that had gone down to visit the wreckage of the Titanic. It was 5 people in this private vessel. It cost, I don't know, a couple $100,000 to get a ticket, so to speak, to be on this submersible. Well, it's been missing. And now the Coast Guard and the Navy, everybody is looking, and they're giving an update right now from the Coast Guard after they heard some noises that they've been investigating underwater.
Who will serve as search coordinators on scene for underwater search operations. So I've been stressing unity of effort a lot in this statement, and that's because it is absolutely critical to this complex operation. Again, our thoughts and prayers are with the crew of the Titan and their loved ones. We will continue to work as hard and as quickly as possible in an effort to locate them.
Now, the Coast Guard described the size of the search right now. It says the search is 2 times the size of Connecticut. So an enormous amount of area, Taylor, that they're trying to locate this crew.
Yeah.
Again, this is 12,500 feet below the surface. That's where the wreckage of the Titanic is.
Yeah, and we are seeing reports that currently this submersible has about 16 hours, 53 minutes of oxygen remaining. The Coast Guard is adding additional vessels to the search. There is time. There is some optimism here, but certainly a very serious situation.
All right, shifting gears. Last year, Utah redrew the districts, and this is something that happens every 10 years, but it might be changing. There's a lot of, because this happens countrywide, right? We hold a census. They redraw the maps according, to them's the rules, folks. That's what you got to do every 10 years. You got to redraw the maps. They redrew some maps, and then you can see in various pockets around the country where these maps are being overturned in the courts, saying this was too gerrymandered.
Yes.
You unfairly drew these lines.
Yes. A bit of background here. We know that nationally, the kind of default status quo is that the legislatures in the states draw the political maps. Some states use a commission, an independent commission or a partisan commission to draw maps. It is done in many different ways across the country. Back in 2018, Dave, Utahns passed a ballot initiative. It was called the Better Boundaries Initiative that called for, in Utah, an independent redistricting commission to have the power to draw Utah's maps. We're talking legislative districts, congressional districts. Well, not long after the initiative passed, the Utah legislature changed that law that was passed by the voters to essentially retain the exclusive power, the real power over drawing those maps. The Utah legislature subsequently drew the maps for Utah's districts. That resulted in a lawsuit filed by the League of Women Voters of Utah, the Mormon Women for Ethical Government. They asked the Utah Supreme Court to overturn the maps drawn by Utah's legislature so that Utah's independent commission, passed by voters, could have the power again to create those boundaries. So we have with us now, joining the show to walk us through kind of the historical landscape of redistricting in Utah, to give us an update on the current status of this legal complaint. Katie Wright is the executive director of Better Boundaries. Katie, welcome to the program. Can you give us an update on redistricting in Utah? What is the current status, and what do you expect to happen? We know there's litigation that is coming next month in Utah. What is the latest, Katie?
Yeah, thank you for having me. At Better Boundaries, we really believe that no matter our background or zip code, it's really important that Utahns have a transparent process to elect the representatives, and voters are put at the center of this. So where we are now is that the case is being heard on appeal at the Utah Supreme Court on July 11th. Both the defendants, which is the legislature, and the plaintiffs, which is Mormon Women for Ethical Government and League of Women Voters Utah, have what is called an interlocutory appeal. So depending on how the Utah Supreme Court case rules, this case could go back down to the district court, and then we would have the opportunity to hear from expert witnesses, from discovery of what was said in emails, and have a trial. So at Better Boundaries, we are very supportive of the plaintiffs, and we hope that the Utah Supreme Court rules in their favor and that this goes to a full trial.
The U.S. Supreme Court recently, I think it was even last Thursday, upheld a lower court ruling in Alabama that the congressional districts likely violated the Federal Voting Rights Act by diluting the political power of black voters. What's the argument here for your lawsuit or this lawsuit?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why politicians gerrymander is because it allows them to hold on to power and choose which voters to listen to and which voters to ignore. The Alabama case, in that case, they were ignoring black voters, and we were really excited to see that ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court. The case here is based on the Utah Constitution. There are a lot of provisions that protect Utahns' right, affirmative right to vote, and all of those are violated by this partisan gerrymander. So it really is a violation of Utahns' constitutional rights that politicians chose to elevate the status of some voters and dilute the status of some voters, and that's just wrong.
Katie, I know that there is a intersection here in Mill Creek on the east side of Salt Lake City where you can go on that corner and stand and be on the boundary of all 4 of Utah's congressional districts. I think the legislature, when they drew those congressional boundaries, they made the argument that they were trying to balance the voices of rural and urban voters in the 4 districts. I think it's interesting to see the 2nd district, which is currently the subject of the special election, ties in Salt Lake City, southern Davis County, with St. George and southern Utah and Kanab. Do you think that kind of a distribution is potentially gerrymandering?
Absolutely. And, two of the plaintiffs are a couple. He is a Democrat. She is Republican. They live in Mill Creek, and they chose that neighborhood precisely because it had a mix of political interests, and they are plaintiffs in this case because they feel that both of their votes are being diluted. He is a Democrat and she is a moderate Republican by being sliced and diced and having their community divided. And, voters who live in different areas have different interests. Perhaps it's public lands or access to water or public transportation and affordable housing. And they deserve to have those issues well represented by their elected. And when politicians draw lines to keep themselves in power, it makes it very difficult for voters to hold politicians accountable.
So what would the result be if your lawsuit was successful? Would they have to go back to the drawing board, and what would prevent them from just redrawing the lines essentially the way they wanted them in the first place?
The relief is ultimately, of course, up to the judge. The plaintiffs are asking for Proposition 4, which was successfully passed by the voters, to be reinstated as the law of the land. So that's what we hope for, but we'll have to see how the case moves forward.
So if that was restored, though, that never took the ultimate power from the legislature to draw the lines, right? That proposition that passed, the initiative that passed.
What is really critical about the Proposition 4 and what we saw the Independent Commission do in 2021 is standards for and criteria for redistricting that favors voters. I participated in many of the community events, and whether it was rural Utah or Salt Lake City, all voters said, hey, please keep my city and county intact. Dividing up city and counties just makes no sense and makes it really hard to govern and even know who is our elected officials. And that is an example of one of the standards that's in Proposition 4 that would have to be upheld if the language was made to the law of the land again.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, Katie Wright with Better Boundaries, the executive director there. Listen, I would love if we wouldn't have to divide up cities, but the fact is you have to. There's no way to just create little pockets of cities and not divide them up on some level. It's just incredibly difficult. You'd be drawing the wildest map you've ever seen.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Dave. That said, to divide Mill Creek into all 4 congressional districts and to put voters in East Mill Creek with voters in Cedar City and St. George makes just even less sense than that. I think
that's where everyone lives. They live along that I-15 corridor.
Yeah. Well, communities of interest, I think, is what we're going for, Dave. That means that we are
whatever that means.
Yeah, I know. It subject to some interpretation, Dave.
Some?
Look, if you ask Republicans in St. George if they like having their votes diluted by Salt Lake County voters, I bet that you might have a lot of voters who agree with me on that.
All right, there is a new push by national Republicans to erase stigma on early voting. Let's talk to Utah's GOP chair, Robert Axson, next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Before Dave and Debbie get started each day, this station is all news all morning.
And later today, we follow up on those stories as you drive home.
Get important news all morning and all afternoon.
Here on KSL News Radio.
Ready, set, go. The race to replace Representative Chris Stewart is on.
He's talking about who he would like to fill his seat.
With nearly 24 candidates vying for the 2nd congressional seat, things will get interesting fast. We'll be all over every twist and turn. Mornings and afternoons this week on KSL News Radio.
One of the things that my family struggles with the most is dry skin. Obviously, we live in a desert, very dry climate. This isn't Houston. There's no humidity here. I get it. But Nevertheless, very, very dry skin. You got to bathe in lotion. One of the reasons that we decided to call Connecticut of Utah and say, hey, guys, will you come out, help us? Because I've heard that soft water can be really, really beneficial to your skin. So when you take a shower, a bath, whatever it might be, that it'll keep your skin hydrated. And that's exactly what soft water does. It's been fantastic. We've loved having it. They came in, they installed it in just a matter of hours. And for years, we've had continuous soft water and have just loved it. In fact, there's a 10-year warranty on your Connecticut water softener. So if anything happens, they'll sweep in, take care of business, very easy. So if you're interested in getting soft water into your home, give them a call, 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. That's Connecticut of Utah, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com.
After I lost the 34 pounds on the SOTA weight loss program, SOTA stands for state of the art, I noticed something that I hadn't expected to happen. I wasn't the only one in my family who started eating healthier. My kid, they say you only teach a kid 3 ways, example, example, example. I started eating healthier. I wasn't binging on entire bags of Cheetos. I wasn't binging on things of ice cream all the time. Now, if I want to have something, I have it, Tim. But I'm not, I eat healthier. I eat smarter. And my kids follow what I do.
My daughter, who lost 42 pounds, specifically wanted me to send that message to the listeners that you don't have to give up everything you love. And they can do away with the hunger pains at the beginning of this process to the point where they're almost non-existent. Believe it or not, SOTA weight loss can help you or somebody in your family. The average female 2 to 3 pounds every week. The average male 3 to 5 pounds. Find out for yourself. Go to SOTAweightloss.com, spelled SOTA. Think Tim and Amanda. It is state of the art.
At Shane Company, we believe everybody is made to shine. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. Shining is not for a chosen few. Like a rare gemstone, each one of us was created under just the right set of circumstances. Your moments, your milestones, your love story, all deserve to shine bright. You don't need an occasion or an invitation. You and your life are the event. At Shane Company, we handcraft our jewelry with the greatest care and hand select the most beautiful gemstones so you can shine. So put on a pair of earrings that make your eyes sparkle. Wear diamonds that light up the room. Try on sapphires in every color of the rainbow. Give an heirloom that collects new stories with each generation. We're all made to shine. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
The biggest RV show in the region is back and bringing all the heat to Sandy. The Utah Summer RV Palooza is packing the shops at Southtown for 3 days only, June 22nd through the 24th. Find select 2022s at up to 20% under cost. And now's your chance to take home the hard-to-find Gold Plate 26BH bunkhouse travel trailer for only $19,995 during the Utah Summer RV Palooza in Sandy, June 22nd through the 24th at the shops at Southtown. Sponsored by Bish's RV.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. anyhourservices.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the highway from Cedar City to US 89 is closed right now because of a rock slide a few miles up the canyon. Second, Utah has the highest rate of skin cancer in the country. Not surprisingly, Alaska has the lowest. And third, the chair of the Federal Reserve says they're keeping an eye on the economy, even though inflation is still above their target rate of 2%. Right now, 62 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
All right, we're going to hit a couple of things in this segment. First of all, what stood out to me is Republicans know that the 2024 election is going to be tight. National Republicans are pushing to erase the stigma over early mail voting among many of their voters. Filling in for Debbie Dujanovic today is Taylor Morgan. Taylor, there has been a stigma for a while, and usually it's with Republicans where they haven't loved early voting.
Well,
I love it.
Look, national Republicans, if only they would look to Utah. Utah has set the gold standard, and specifically, I want to give credit to the Utah Republican Party and former chairs, past chairs. We're talking Thomas Wright, Derek Brown, and others. They were the original champions of by mail voting in Utah because they knew that it helped more Republicans participate. It helped all voters, Dave, but particularly in Republican primaries, we saw a huge uptick in participation with by-mail voting in Utah. By-mail voting really, at least in a one party in a very red state, it benefits all voters, and that's proportionally more Republicans.
So how difficult is it going to be to shift that narrative nationally? Again, here in Utah, we're all about it.
Yeah.
But nationally, that's a hurdle.
It is a hurdle, and it's a hurdle for the National Republican Party. Often, I think the National Republican Party tries to play games with limiting voter participation. And again, Utah does this incredibly well. We set the standard with by-mail voting. And look, back during COVID, when every other state was trying to figure out how to rush and implement by-mail voting, we had already piloted it and almost perfected it here in Utah.
Robert Axon joins us right now, the Utah GOP chair. Robert, it's easy to pat ourselves on the back, but it's true. I would totally agree with Taylor's description. We are very comfortable with it. We feel safe when it's done. There's a few people that have issue with it, but is it too late to kind of shift gears and say, no, we're all about the early voting now?
No, not at all. I think it's okay to lean into whatever is legally permissible, especially, and this is a key point I want to point out, is we have to also pattern it with the willingness to learn and improve the process. So when we see things that aren't working, even in Utah where we've been doing it fairly well, when we see things that leave a question of accuracy or leave a question of authenticity to the vote, we need to always be willing to protect that. And I think that crosses any political spectrum. The very basic building block of a constitutional republic is the vote. We have to have it accessible and available, but also something that people can trust the outcome.
And it can be tricky, right? As soon as we start making manipulations and changing things and trying to improve, there's always the consequences of the unintended consequences. And it's difficult when you start talking about deadlines. You know, is 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, 90 days, what's the appropriate number? And I think nationally speaking, we're still spinning. We don't know what the perfect answer is. Even though we've done it for a long time here in Utah, I think nationally, we're not quite sure what that looks like.
100%. And you have a lot of states that were forced into this back in 2020 as the COVID pandemic created some challenges. That also creates a degree of concern when some states rushed in to allow early voting or mail-in balloting, but they never thought through how to do it accurately. And we all remember those circumstances where I think New York State, for example, they send out a few 100,000 ballots that were legal ballots, and then later they're like, oh, we sent those to the wrong address, so we'll send out another few 100,000 ballots. Well, that leaves legitimate ballots out there that, you know, somebody could do something malicious with. We always have to learn from mistakes, and that's what the National Republican Party and here in the state, what we're trying to do is whatever legal ability to vote is, we want to lean into that and make sure that every Republican has the opportunity to vote.
Robert Axon, chair of the Utah State Republican Party, here in studio with us, Dave. So glad to have you, Robert. Robert, you're a little bit busy lately.
Yeah.
There's a convention coming up this Saturday in Delta, Utah for the 2nd District. Tell us a little bit about that and what goes into organizing that convention and why it's so significant in this special election.
Yeah, it's very significant because Utah deserves to have a full gamut of voters back there in D.C. So at the end of the summer, when Congressman Stewart is set to resign the seat, Utah in that district will be without a vote. And so it behooves us as a state, and I'm grateful for the governor and the legislature and moving the timeline. And I'm also grateful for all those folks that are helping me on the party front to execute our portion of this, because we want to make sure that that district's vote is represented back in Washington, D.C. So Saturday, like you said, any state delegate in the 2nd Congressional District needs to be there with us. It's at 3 p.m. at the high school in Delta.
Okay.
I'm a little bit nervous that this is going to be too inside baseball, but listen, this is the process. So we got to talk about the process. But how's it going to work in convention? How's it going to work with signatures when it comes down to the primary? And how is it different from the way typically things run?
Yeah, so in Utah, as you know, we have this dual track system as permitted through state law that allows for somebody to pursue the primary ballot through signatures and then also pursue the primary ballot through the delegate process. So that's what we'll be doing on Saturday, is that delegate process. The signature gathering route would still be available. Somebody would have to secure the necessary number of confirmed signatures by 5 p.m. on July 5th, and that would qualify that individual or individuals to the primary ballot. The party is going to be sending forward one person after Saturday. We're going to know who it is, and that's where it's different. I think this is what you're talking about. In a normal year, the party could be advancing up to 2 individuals to the primary ballot. State law, as it pertains to the special elections, only permits 1.
Very interesting. Now, Robert, what is the mechanism that the party will use at convention? I know in years past, the party has used ranked choice voting, I believe, during COVID for virtual conventions. This will be an in-person convention that delegates attend. What will the voting mechanism be for convention? And what percentage of the delegate vote will that one candidate have to win in order to be the convention winner and be on the ballot?
Yeah, great question. So we will not be doing ranked choice voting. It will be multiple rounds. And so you will have candidate speeches followed by a round of balloting. And those at the bottom end of the vote tally would fall off for the next round. And then you have another round of speeches followed by balloting. And so we would go through that process until you end up with 2 final candidates. In a normal year, you would have one final round of voting to see if somebody secures 60%. If they do, they're the only one to advance. If not, then those 2 would advance to the primary ballot. Where the state law only allows us to do 1, then it would be that one final round of balloting, and the person with the majority would advance on from that point.
Can I make a quick point, Dave? And I don't want to, I'm not here to cause drama. In my other life, politically, professionally, I wear this hat as the executive director of Count My Vote. Robert just loves that work that I've done because I've just made his life so much easier. But I do have to this is just my opinion, Robert. You can ignore this if you'd like to. Dave, I'm a little frustrated that only one candidate can come out of convention, and that's coming from the Count My Vote signature
guy. Yeah.
I believe more choice, more options on the ballot is better for the process and better for voters. I'm a little frustrated that we limited it to only one convention candidate because I want more choices for voters. That's just my opinion. Robert, you can just ignore that. I feel your pain, maybe, is what I'm saying.
Well, and here's maybe the greatest opportunity today is Taylor, that means you and I have some very important conversations to have moving forward. And
Yes.
You can realize, like, the disagreements that maybe you and I have about the signature path and whatnot, maybe there's some common ground in between where we are and where I would prefer us to be. And I'd love to work with you to get back to a place where the party has a more vibrant ability to engage in the process while still maybe exploring things that are pertinent to you and folks that you represent.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I agree. I think there is common ground. Yeah.
As far as the delegates that need to show up in Delta this weekend, this Saturday, starting at what time?
3 p.m. 1 p.m. is credentialing and a chance to meet with the candidates, but then 3 p.m. would be the start of the convention.
Okay, so which delegates? Is it just CD2
Just
delegates?
CD2. So it's about a fourth of the state's 1,000 delegates, 4,000. So it's about 1,000 delegates from congressional district to state delegates, and they'll be there with us.
Road trip. It's a couple hours away. I guess it's the middle.
It's the geographic,
in between.
close to the geographic middle of one of the largest congressional districts in the entire United States.
Yeah, it goes from Salt Lake all the way down to St. George.
All the way. Well, and keep in mind, all the way even to Kanab, which is a little bit further to get to than St. George.
You're about a 2-hour drive from the Salt Lake area, probably just that also from St. George. So, look, I have to give you, party leaders, the legislature, the governor, a ton of credit. This was no easy feat to coordinate and align the dates for this special election. And regardless of your opinion of the state party or the system, look, this is, I think, a very important thing to come together and get this process, on a realistic timeline for Utahns. Very important that we keep that seat in Congress and keep our voice there. So thank you, Robert, for speaking out, for your leadership and your voice to get this done for Utahns.
No, I very much appreciate that. And I have to remind folks, too, we'll have one more debate. We had one last night. We'll have one more tomorrow that will be streamed and in person down in St. George.
Robert Axson, Utah GOP chair. Thanks.
It's 11:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. 11 Republicans took the debate stage last night to explain why they think they're the right person to replace Congressman Chris Stewart in this fall's special election.
The most important thing to know about me is that I'm a father. I'm a veteran. I'm a first responder. I'm an entrepreneur.
You are squarely in the middle of the area that I represented for 10 years in the Utah House of Representatives.
And they also differed when it came to their views on Trump versus DeSantis in 2024 and a recent same-sex marriage act that passed Congress. The second debate coming to St. George on Thursday. The primary election is set for September 5th. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The offices of the Paris 2024 Olympic Organizing Committee was raided yesterday, part of what authorities say is a corruption investigation. Investigators considering possible misuse of public funds. ABC's Tom Soufi-Burridge is in Paris.
Paris 2024 saying it's actively cooperating with investigators, adding it has adopted, quote, stringent procedures to ensure the transparency and propriety of several hundred contracts awarded. This morning, French anti-corruption campaigners calling for a speedy investigation to ensure transparency before the Games begin. Earlier this year, it emerged the total cost of the Paris Games had risen from $7 to around $10 billion.
And your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down 43 points right now. The NASDAQ down 154 at this hour. And our KSL weather warming right up through the week. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:33.
This summer, the political season heats up.
By August, it'll be time for debates. Can you believe it?
We're planning coverage of the real issues, the important stories that impact how we live.
Listen each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Does your student have a hard time getting up in the morning? Or struggle to fit certain classes into a packed schedule? Consider a few online classes at Mountain Heights Academy, a tuition-free online public charter school. Any Utah student in grades 9 through 12 can replace a few traditional classes with high-quality online courses and get the best of both worlds. Their teachers have years of experience in digital education, and all courses meet Utah graduation requirements. Learn more at mountainheightsacademy.org.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part?
It was free?
Nope.
The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks?
Nope. It's the ding.
Oh yeah, love the ding.
Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingarone, the ring-a-ding-ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Would you be upset if you lost $111,000 in retirement income? Get this, 96% of Americans, 96% lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income. Learn how you could avoid this in a free report, the Social Security Decisions Guide from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. If you've saved at least $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, get this free report by calling 801-682-4448. This free report is loaded with critical information that can help you avoid losing $111,000 in Social Security income. So call 801-682-4448. That's 801-682-4448. Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
Everyone has a community to lean on. A neighborhood, school, kids' teams, where you worship, work out, or any other place or group where you choose to belong. Communities can provide support when you need it, and even when you don't know you do. Like when it comes to preventing underage drinking and other substance use. You've talked with your kids and shared clear expectations, but you're not with them every minute. Your community members, friends and relatives, teachers and coaches, faith leaders, and other important adults in your kids' lives can be your eyes, ears, and a supportive influence when you're not around, reinforcing your messages with your kids and alerting you to warning signs of underage drinking or other substance use. So talk with your kids about these issues and involve the members of your community to help keep your kids safe. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information, visit talktheyhearyou.samhsa.gov.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Here's Ricky Meese.
We're in good shape on the Valley Freeways. No accidents, no delays. But in Summit County, we had an accident. Highway 40 at the SR 248 junction in the Park City area. It was moved to the shoulder, but we are seeing some slowdowns on the southbound side of Highway 40 at that intersection. The Utah Symphony's Deer Valley Music Festival in Park City features Ben Folds, Leanne Rimes, the Beach Boys, and more. June 30th through August 4th in Park City at DeerValleyMusicFestival.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, cool temperatures today for the first day of summer. A high of 77 today, warms up to 85 tomorrow, 90 by Monday, and right now, no chance of rain in the forecast. Right now, 66 degrees and sunny at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM at KSLNewsRadio.com. Your all-day companion for news.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We want to present a special report on immigration labor. Now, so often, Taylor, we talk about immigration, the crisis at the border, but we also forget what a crucial role that immigration labor plays in so many jobs around America.
Yeah, for sure.
I look at it, and we talked to Hugo Ricard Bell. He's a KSL News Radio reporter, and he did some in-depth reporting. I'm going to play this report for you, but imagine doing a 3-person job just by yourself, because that's what farmers across Utah are struggling with on a daily basis. The industry is reliant on migrant labor, and they're struggling to find workers to help put food on the table. So here's KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricard Bell. He investigated this problem and started at a farm gate in Ogden.
My name is Baltasar Escalona Sampaio. I have been here in the United States for 8 years with this boss.
Baltasar is from Mexico. He works on this farm and sends what he earns back to his family.
I have my house, I have my truck, thanks to this job. My family lives. I can say they're not lacking anything, but they don't have too much either. We have a stable life. Both my mother and my son and my wife are not lacking, thank God, and they have a house to live in, thank God.
Baltasar's boss is Ron Gibson. He's the president of the Utah Farm Bureau, and he runs a mixed farming operation in Ogden.
Our family's been here for a dang long time. We've been here on the same farm since 1869. We milk about 1,500 to 1,600 cows, depending on what time of the year it is. And then we also have a produce farm, and we grow quite a few onions, and we're kind of developing that as we
To be fully operational, his farm requires up to 60 people. But staff like Baltasar are hard to come by nowadays, and have been for some time.
How has labour been for you in the last couple of years?
It's been really, really hard pre-COVID and extremely difficult post-COVID. The challenge is that nobody comes looking for jobs anymore.
Utah farmers rely heavily on migrant labour from south of the border. It's been that way for generations. But in the last few years, something has changed.
20 years ago, we used to have 5-10 people a week coming around looking for a job. 10 years ago, we used to have people coming looking for jobs. Now nobody comes looking for jobs.
It's easy to point the finger at COVID-19. Pandemic-era policies like Title 42 essentially put a stop to immigration for 3 years. So now that it's lifted, will we see this problem solved?
We don't really think so. It just seems like...
There are several reasons why the end of Title 42 is unlikely to have an impact on agricultural labour shortages. Firstly, we need to consider it's a different type of immigrant crossing the border. They are fleeing conflict from countries like Venezuela, and most of them are well educated and held professions like doctors or lawyers and teachers.
It just seems like it's been a long time since people have come around looking for jobs on the farm.
Secondly, the H-2A work visa. It was actually active throughout Title 42. It's tailored to agriculture and has been used by farmers for years now to get workers legally.
We can use the H-2A program for our produce farm we cannot use it for our dairy farm. It's against the law to use it for our dairy farm.
And for those playing at home, livestock is a major part of agriculture in Utah. So finally, it all comes down to the age-old foe, money.
Why do you think we've seen so little workers coming across to work on farms?
Well, there are a few people here in the ranches. Most of them leave because, for example, in construction, they pay $20 to $22. In ranch, they pay up to $16. And it is logical for like any person, right? They will go where they earn more money. Because despite that, they come with some very expensive bills.
A problem for farmers is a problem for consumers. It doesn't matter how good of a crop is growing. If there isn't the labour to harvest it all, that leaves a hole in the market.
We've got to come to a resolution in Washington to where we understand the value of local food production. Or if not, you simply are just going to see your dairy products, all your proteins coming from other parts of the world.
One man who's been traditionally vocal when it comes to immigration and labour is Governor Spencer Cox.
Jody, how are you?
Well, how are you?
No, very well, thanks.
Most Republicans actually support fixing legal immigration and make it easier for immigrants to come legally. And most Democrats also believe that we should secure the border. I wrote an op-ed recently with the governor of Indiana supporting that idea that we should let every state decide in what types of industries and how many visas they need in those industries. And I wish we had that opportunity.
If you do get that opportunity, how would you like to see Utah respond?
Yeah, so if we were given that opportunity, like every other state in the nation, we would sit down, we would look at our unemployment rate, we would look at those industries that were most in need, that just can't find the labor. So agriculture is one of those.
So I suppose one of the visas you might be talking about is the H-2A. Well, I mean, the biggest problem with the H-2A is you're not allowed to work on livestock farms. You know, at the federal level, what does need to be done to fix that?
Yeah. Well, you've stated it, right? We need to change that visa as well to allow them to be able to work with livestock. Again, most of these, if you were to sit down and lay out the immigration policy of the United States of America, it makes no sense. It doesn't make sense to anyone. There's no logic behind it. And you just, what's the difference between working with livestock and working with fruit trees? I mean, they're farms, they're agriculture, it's nonsensical, and there has to be a better way.
A lot of these guys are seeking asylum from places like Venezuela. They're very educated. How would you incentivize them to de-skill into agriculture to sort of help both sides of it? Is there an answer?
Well, I don't know that there is an answer there. Again, people are going to make those decisions. These jobs are available for those that have the right paperwork, the asylum seekers who are going through that process and who can get a job to de-skill. But I want to be clear, it's not just unskilled labor that we're missing as well, right? Like, we need skilled labor, and we do need more nurses. And we need more doctors. And so there are lots of good people who need these jobs, unskilled laborers that need these jobs. It's a win-win, and we've somehow turned it into a lose-lose.
So where's the legislation sitting at the moment?
Well, as far as I know, I mean, nothing is moving. Just that we've been told that there is a bipartisan group of senators that are meeting and having conversations. We've been working with the business community as well as my fellow governors. This is something that we really want to tackle. We want to put some pressure on Congress. It is frustrating because immigration under the Constitution is a federal issue. That's very clear. States have tried to step in and solve some of these. I have to go back now. It's been 11 or 12 years since Utah passed our comprehensive immigration reform, which I think was groundbreaking. I think it's a model for the nation. And unfortunately, neither the Obama administration nor the Trump administration allowed us to implement that immigration reform. And so we have the solution. solutions sitting on a shelf right here in Utah that would allow for special work visas for people who are here, would give them an opportunity to not gain citizenship, but to gain legal status, which is really important, and would bring illegal immigrants out of the shadows. They would pay taxes like everyone else, and so those solutions are out there. It was a bipartisan. Republicans and Democrats supported it, and so I would love for the federal government to just dust off Utah's solution and try to implement something like that. I'm not holding my breath, though, when it comes to Congress and their ability to deal with a very complicated and controversial issue.
I just drove around my farm today, and I feel like we're just swamped and we're behind. I mean, and I feel like we could use 20 more guys today.
That was a special report from KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricard Bell, who joins us after the break.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hey, stay right here for more of Dave and Dujanovic.
And tomorrow morning, come back here for news, traffic updates, and reliable weather.
Join us to have a listen. Tim and Amanda.
Your morning companions for news.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Since 1914, Utah Paper Box has been a staple in the Salt Lake Valley. Over the years, this packaging factory has learned how to provide its services from design, pre-press, and printing to die cutting, stamping, and finishing in an eco-friendlier way. CEO Steve Kaiser tells us more.
At Utah Paper Box, our mission is to be a valuable resource for our customers through creative and innovative packaging, and also a responsible steward of our environment, community, and employees. We pride ourselves on being a small business that can provide high-quality, eye-catching, custom packaging for both small local startups and large national brands such as Smith Optics and Casper's Ice Cream. What's more, we have committed to doing so sustainably. At Utah Paper Box, sustainability is one of our 6 core values. We have worked hard to become a sustainable and eco-friendly company and are proud to be a leader in our industry for environmental causes. We source from sustainable forest and divert 90% of our waste from landfills. Our headquarters is LEED Gold certified, and 20% of the power comes from solar energy. Not only that, but our first electric semi-truck is arriving this fall, first of its kind in the state. Come check us out at upbslc.com.
Utah Paper Box is committed to exceeding customer expectations, providing top quality paper products, and caring about our environment. See what this local packaging supplier can do for you. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
This is Jeff Stout with Fink & McGregor Mortgages Made Simple. FHA has announced a significant reduction in mortgage insurance rates. This can be a game changer for some people. FHA rates are typically lower than conventional mortgage rates. Combine this with lower mortgage insurance and FHA is worth a look. FHA is especially attractive for low down payment, cash out, or credit issues. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer, and you can refinance into or out of an FHA loan. Another attractive feature of an FHA loan is the ability to streamline refinance when rates come down. No appraisal needed, limited documentation, and low cost helps you lower your payment with minimal fuss. Call us today. Fink & McGregor Mortgages Made Simple, 801-264-9494. That's 264-9494. Or on the web at finkmcgregor.com. NMLS 289115.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Introducing Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. We're bringing all of Utah's favorite HVAC, plumbing, and electrical brands under one roof. The same people you know and trust, providing Utah with the same great service you've counted on for more than 45 years. We're even throwing in a great offer for you. Say yes and beat the summer heat with our $49 tune-up special. For all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs, you can always count on yes. Visit theyesmancan.com to schedule your appointment.
Get updates on Jazz and BYU news and score updates. Text Jazz or BYU at the Cyprus Credit Union KSL text line 57500.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, 11 candidates for Congress participated in a Republican debate last night. Second, the biggest Korean supermarket chain in the country, planning to open a new location in Sandy. And third, the offices of the Olympic Organizing Committee in Paris were raided by police yesterday as part of a corruption investigation. Right now, 66 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic.
We just listened to a great report by KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricard Bell about immigration labor in Utah. And Taylor Morgan's filling in for Debbie Dujanovic today. And I think so often when we talk about immigration, we talk almost exclusively about the southern border.
Yeah.
And how to keep people out or how to track them once they get in, and should they be here, how long should they be there. But we don't have enough conversations about what happens when these workers come.
Yes.
Whether it's in Utah, California, Texas, all over the place. And what happens and how do we use that immigration labor?
Yeah. And I think talking about immigration, talking about the crisis on our southern border in very practical terms, I think is very helpful. I think we need to try to depoliticize this conversation. And look, we can say that we want a secure border. And I think everyone wants a secure border, no matter whether you're talking to a Democrat or a Republican. I think that means different things to different people, Dave. But ultimately, people come to America for a couple main reasons. Number one, it's economic, right? They're trying to find a job. They're trying to better their situation, whether it's as a migrant laborer or maybe a surgeon, right? Also, they're coming here to seek asylum. They are fleeing unsafe conditions in their home country. There's a whole variety of issues, but asylum seekers and economic migrants are the two primary motivators. And we need to look at the issue in very practical terms. I thought Hugo's report did exactly that, and it was so good.
Yeah, bringing it back here to Utah dairy farmers that are struggling to find enough workers, laborers, to do the job. Hugo joins us right now. First of all, what brought this story to your attention?
Well, first off, Dave, I felt, I know you love your milk, so I thought I'd better find something else to do with milk that we can take to a national level.
Are you a 2%, 1%, or fat-free guy, Dave?
I
drink it all. As long as it is a full gallon in the fridge, I'm happy.
Fair enough.
Look, one of the things that brought it to my attention is, or just made me wonder what it was like over here, is where I lived in Australia. So before I was a journalist, I've only been a journalist for a couple of years. Before I was that, I worked on very, very big cattle properties in the outback, I guess you would say. And a lot of my colleagues seasonally, I was there full time, but a lot would come from, we relied a lot on backpack labour, guys from Vanuatu or those sort of places as well. And, because of COVID after that, just before COVID is when I made the transition to journalism, but I would go back for like a month here or there to help break in some horses or run some cattle for them. And this massive... The fact I was asked to go back during those months for a holiday to help work was a big indication that we struggled with a lot of labour in Australia. America's Australia times, 100. And, so I was wondering, you guys rely on a lot of migrant labour. They're not coming by boat. They're coming across the border. I wonder, legally. And I wondered sort of what the situation was there. And as soon as I asked Ron Gibson just over a phone call, he straight away, it's been tough before COVID.
How are they dealing with these labor shortages?
Well, I guess it's kind of hard to really say. I mean, everyone's a bit different, but I would say you've seen a pretty sharp, I would say there's been a decrease in production. So, Ron's farm's probably running at
80 or 90% of what it should be because of these shortages. And if, that adds up across the country, I mean, the toughest thing for a lot of Utah is the livestock thing. So the H-2A visa, which allows people to come across from anywhere in the world to work on agriculture in America. You can't work with livestock. So it's only your fruit picking, your trees, your crops, that sort of thing.
That was the craziest thing I've ever heard.
What a silly...
Makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense. And that's what Governor Cox was sort of pointing out, But there are a few discrepancies. I will touch on, I think Baltazar said at one stage in that conversation I was having with him, he was the migrant labourer. He's been working for Ron for 8 years. One of the reasons he thinks people aren't going to agriculture is because they get paid more in construction. But what people might not realise is if Baltazar, say, would get $22 an hour working in construction, right, that might be his cash into his pocket or money into his pocket. It actually still costs Ron to employ Baltazar about $22 to $25 because Ron supplies him with accommodation and food. Which is obviously just that's where that extra $6 an hour goes.
But largely, this is these folks are bringing their families. They're living on the farm. Is that correct? So
they'll live on the farm and then they'll send money back to their family. And Baltazar has been doing it for 8 years. He's started his own business in Mexico. He's got his own tractor with baling equipment. He contracts out and sort of farms other people's land in Mexico when he goes home because the seasons are reversed or a little bit non-adjacent. So
what's next for this story? You touched on solutions, and it was still like the worst answer, which is like, well, we're waiting for the federal government to fix it, which was like the worst solution.
Yeah.
But
Governor Cox sounded a little frustrated there. In fairness, he's
you
not
could feel it,
wrong. Yeah. He brought up what we call the Utah Compact, right?
Yeah.
And that may be a new term, Hugo, but when he talked about some of the common sense immigration reform that Utahns passed, Dave, it's been a long time. It's been almost 2 decades since Utah passed that Utah Compact. A broad array of public officials and business leaders essentially came together to call for common sense, practical immigration reform. Utah has since legislated some immigration reform. However, it is all pending congressional action. What did the governor say? Did he just say we can't do anything without Congress, or what is Utah doing? What's next?
He's pretty. I think it was pretty evident in his conversation with me that he's certainly frustrated about this issue, and he's been traditionally pretty vocal on those topics. So you're right. They've had this idea, or Utah put forward an idea that he believes is really good. And I don't know much about it other than it's about sort of looking at who needs what visas and allocating them to the industry. But he sort of pointed towards the fact they're waiting on Congress. But Governor Cox really sort of spoke about federalism. They want this to be a state issue.
Hugo Ricard Bell.